Found these at my dollar store. Glow in the dark skeleton hands. So, got a couple of packages, so that should last me a while. Exciting. I'll need some containers for things. I think I'm going to be doing some stash jars tonight. Kind of want to do a sloth jar. I can just get my fingers around him. So I think his head's going to have to come off. Oh no. Whatever will we do? He got so many fuzzies to vacuum around here. Means I'll have to sew up his back. But not a problem. Yep. We're going to have a sloth. I'm going to have to make some horns for him though. Alright. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with this. Yes, I'm going to do something with this. So I threw up a poll online if anyone wants to go check that out. Yes. More hands. Should have like a bucket. Can't do anything. I can't do anything right. Not already watched it 4 hours ago. Still already watched it. Your channel. I should have this all set up, but I don't. Listen, we spent yesterday in the hospital. We're not exactly running at 100 steps right now. There we go. All right. Put a wrapper on this one. But for now, I still got 2 more jars upstairs. You fit. I'll go with pink because I don't know where the rest of the other one is. Ooh, hello. I think I'll be using those. I destroyed everything and now I can't find anything. There's no one to blame but me. No, that's actual fabric. Like real spend money fabric. No, we're just going to use what we have on hand, and that is going to be okay. Unless it's in here. I see some scraps. I'm gonna use that. Ugh. I did this to myself. Gosh, I did everything myself. There's so much here. I can do stuff too. Nope. 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 I mean, technically yes. Nope. Not enough. Not enough. Too dark. Oh God, hi! Hi Sing, how are you? I am making some stash jars tonight. At least that's the plan. I hope so anyway. If I run screaming, just ignore that. I'm going to the hospital to get organs removed. I would have been screaming last night, but my appendix. Not my appendix. What's the other organ that drives people crazy? Gallbladder. Yeah, that decided it wanted to try and kill me, so I got a little preoccupied yesterday. Couldn't really do that. It's fine. Nobody looks on the inside anyway. Where are you calling in from? Calling in from. Fuck, I'm tired. Where are you today? I'm in Canada. The the land of polar bears and maple syrup. Yeah, I should be able to, I think. Yeah, alright, just enough. Got 2 more jars upstairs, I gotta go grab them. 3 actually, I just cleaned one out, so. Hi guys, how are you doing tonight? Today? Not nighttime yet. I started a bit early, but I didn't get anything done yesterday because I got sick. But I lived. I should put some audiobooks on. Any of you getting any requests for something to listen to? Let's walk on some more theory, I think. I haven't got the brains to look up a book tonight. Conspiracy or coincidence? We'll find out by the end of this story. Yes.
If I had a nickel for every brother who goes missing in this story, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's tragic that it happened twice. I'm Abe Madison, and welcome back to the Warlord.
I did message him about a local mystery here that happened on New Year's Eve a few years ago, but they never got back to me. But they got a lot of stories I gotta cover. And they mostly stick to the states, because...
Wasilla, Alaska is the 49th state's 4th largest city, but America's least densely populated state. That doesn't mean all that much. With a population of just over 9,000 as of the 2020 census, the little community 40 miles north of Anchorage would be considered relatively sleepy by many of us in the lower 48. And yet, it's home to one of the most bizarre missing persons incidents in recent memory. Back in 1999, a teenager named Michael Palmer disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a bike and a pair of soaking wet shoes. Nobody could say for certain why, when, or how he vanished, and that would be weird in and of itself given the circumstances, but it was what happened 11 years later that firmly places this story in the bizarre category. Michael was one of 3 boys in the Palmer family, and the youngest by about 7 years. His middle brother, Chuck, was born in 1990, and Chris a couple of years before that. It seems that the boys were always close, but that they didn't necessarily share hobbies. For instance, Chris was an experienced snowmobiler, while Chuck had just purchased his first machine when the 2 remaining brothers headed out to Talkeetna for a weekend trip in 2010. Chris had planned to show his younger brother the ropes one Saturday in April, together with their stepfather and 2 friends, but on the way out to their cabin, he suffered a mechanical issue and was unable to go out with the rest of the crew. Not willing to spoil the fun for everyone, he stayed back to work on repairs, while the rest of them hit the trails near Bald Mountain. And by the end of the day, Chris would be the only remaining Palmer brother, and nobody could explain what had happened to Chuck when they returned to the cabin that night. Like his younger brother, the middle child left behind only the object he was last seen riding, leaving family, friends, and neighbors to wonder if the Palmer family was unlucky, cursed, or targeted. And speaking of being targeted, have you ever noticed that your apps and browsers seem to know a little bit too much about you?
Yes.
While that can be convenient for serving you the kind of content you want to see, events that are local to you, and ads that you might find relevant, the fact is that the same data these platforms use to show you all of those things can also be bought and sold by data brokers. Anytime you sign up for a free trial or fill out a survey, for example, there's a chance that the information you shared, like your name, phone number, and even your home address, could end up listed somewhere online to be purchased by scammers, stalkers, and all sorts of other villains. That's why we partnered with Delete Me, a subscription data management service which finds the data you want kept private and files takedown notices on your behalf. You give them the information you want taken offline, and their team handles the rest, no matter how many times your data pops up again. With over 100 million pieces of data removed for their customers, DeleteMe's got a proven track record of getting the job done. If you're ready to take control of your digital footprint, head over to joindeleteme.com/lorelodge or click the link in the description to get started with a 20% discount using code LORELODGE today. Again, that is joindeleteme.com/lorelodge or click the link in the description for a 20% discount using code LORELODGE. It was just after 12:30 a.m. on Friday, June 4th, 1999, when Lisa Palmer arrived home from her shift at Providence, Alaska Medical Center. She was exhausted from the long hours at the hospital, but before she could go to bed, she needed to be sure that all of her kids were accounted for. One of those children, her youngest son, 15-year-old Michael Palmer, was out of the house at a sleepover hosted by his friends Dustin and Tommy. But a quick phone call to their mother confirmed what she expected to be the case. The boys were all fast asleep in a clubhouse in the backyard. With that peace of mind secured, Lisa laid down and went to sleep. When she awoke the next morning, she wasn't expecting Michael to be home quite yet, but as that long Alaskan summer day meandered its way towards noon without even so much as a phone call, she began to grow anxious. While her son staying over at a friend's house wasn't out of the ordinary, him not calling home to let his mother know his plans was, and Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Seeking to put her worries to rest before she went in for her next shift, she called over to Dustin and Tommy's house, hoping for confirmation that Michael and the other boys had simply slept in. But when Dustin answered the phone, it wasn't the news that Lisa was looking for. Not only was Michael not there, but as far as Dustin was aware, he'd ridden his bike home late that night, with his friends last seeing him around 4 o'clock in the morning. "I know you're lying," Lisa recalled saying. "What's going on? Where is he?" Dustin, for his part, had no answer. As far as he knew, or at least as far as he was willing to divulge, Michael, his brother Tommy, himself, and a friend named Cameron had snuck out to go to a graduation party at a Timmy Russell's house in the area of Pittman Road on the northwest outskirts of Wasilla. An assuredly bashful Dustin explained that they'd all had a few beers before starting the ride home, and that they'd been on their way back to he and his brother's house near Park Highway mile marker 51 when they lost track of Michael. According to Lisa, the teenager told her that when her son never caught up to them, they assumed he'd decided to go back to his own house for the night, and they had no idea where he might be. Lisa sprung into action, alerting the police about Michael's disappearance by 3 o'clock that afternoon. At first, troopers tried to convince her that he was probably just off drinking somewhere, but Lisa was adamant that something wasn't right, and they relented to a mother's intuition and began to organize a search effort. Meanwhile, Michael's brothers and father got to work on their own search.
Whatchamacallit?
Set about on four-wheelers
A jar,
in the
but
area
keep
where
the lid, but I did it.
Seen, though nothing came of their first outing on the hunt. The same was not true of day 2, Saturday the 5th. State troopers were flying over Michael's last known position when they spied something metallic half submerged in the Little Susitna River. Ground teams rushed to the location, pulled a bicycle from the water, about half a mile north where Dustin had said they last saw Michael. Papers identified the bike as being the one that the missing team was riding, and questions quickly arose about the possibility that he had drowned. Divers were in the water the very next morning, while dog teams unsuccessfully attempted to locate a scent along the riverbanks. Now, this was a sensible place to look, but at the same time, searchers doubted that Michael was still in the river for a number of reasons. Not only was the water in that section of the stream shallow and narrow enough to wade across, and clear enough to see through to the bottom, but there was also a logjam 200 yards downriver. So investigators felt it unlikely that Michael, even if he were dead or unconscious, could have been swept beyond that obstruction. As the search progressed, new evidence seemed to support that conclusion after a pair of Converse sneakers matching the size and style Michael had been wearing that night turned up in a bizarre location later that same day. The exact details were a little hard to confirm, but what can be said for certain is that Michael's sneakers turned up on a private airstrip just a few hundred yards north, where his bike was found in the river. Contemporary sources said nothing about how searchers came upon the shoes, but one local source, the Matsu Frontiersman, reported in 2002 that a pair of Michael's black athletic shoes were recovered when another teenager, whose father owned the airstrip, gave them to investigators. And that was a detail confirmed in the Anchorage Daily News in June of 2000. As if that weren't strange enough, state police spokesman Brett Wilkinson told the Anchorage Daily News that the shoes were wet, one was untied, and they were sitting next to each other as if Palmer had set them aside. And on top of that, a later article on the first anniversary of the disappearance noted that the shoes were covered in silt when found. The lack of a body in the river, the log jams, the bike, and the wet shoes pointed away from the possibility that Michael had drowned, but beyond that, they only served to complicate the case further. Based on the reporting from the time, it seems that the four teenagers had been at a party on Pittman Road, somewhere to the east of where the other three last saw Michael at the intersection of Pittman and Silver. Troopers were able to gather a few further details about that night from Dustin and Tommy, who reportedly said that the boy Palmer was riding with sped ahead to catch up with the other two boys in the group. When Palmer failed to catch up with them, the Anchorage Daily News continued, the three boys stopped about 3 miles away and waited about 40 minutes. But when he didn't turn up, they assumed Palmer had gone to his home, which is on the way. And that detail tells us that the Palmers lived south of the river, so there was no reason for Michael to try and cross it if he was trying to get home. Leaves the question, what drove him to go north? If the troopers ever suspected that the other boys might have had something to do with Michael's disappearance, they never openly said as much, nor did they immediately seek to open a criminal investigation. They did, however, shift their focus towards other angles of investigation, as the trail had gone completely cold after searches through the surrounding forest turned up no sign of the missing teenager. And while Michael's mother told the Anchorage Daily News that she did not believe that her youngest son would have run away, her justifications for that assertion don't necessarily hold up. The paper reported that Lisa wanted people to know that her son was a good boy, one who has long abided by his mother's overprotective ways. According to her, she always demanded to know where he was, and he always called. Now, I don't want to speculate too much, but having been a 15-year-old boy whose parents could be a bit on the overbearing side, I can attest that it can become a little stifling to constantly alert them of your whereabouts as you get older. Potentially with that thought process in mind, the troopers set about reaching out to runaway shelters and friends of Michael's who lived outside of Wasilla.
Fall is on sale at Michael's. Shop BOGOs on trending decor, lighting, floral, and more. Set your table with classic fall vibes and give your porch a cozy refresh for less. Shop in store and online today.
So we are the first ever
Coffee,
sensory-friendly
mayonnaise,
restaurant in Canada. So we
coffee,
hired neurodivergent
other mayonnaise. This
talent
one's
and
another
also
mayonnaise.
create an inclusive space for everyone to dine in.
Outside of Wasilla. Back in town, investigators went door to door interviewing residents along Pittman Road, but due to the late hour of the disappearance, they found nobody who could recall seeing or hearing anything that night. Nobody could tell them anything which Dustin and Tommy hadn't already revealed, and dozens of interviews along with several polygraphs of people present at the party that night revealed nothing further. One witness told police that he or she had seen Michael leave a party with two other people in a blue sedan, but the people and the car had been at a different party entirely. Rumors came and went, many of them suggesting there had been a fight at the party, which resulted in something tragic happening to Michael, but investigators found these rumors to be baseless every single time. There was a brief spark of hope that the case might be solved when, the winter after Michael disappeared, Charles Palmer tracked down a teenager who his elder sons, Chris and Chuck, had heard was telling a detailed story about Michael being beaten and shot at a bridge far from the bicycle. Charles then dragged this kid into the station, where troopers interviewed him and administered a polygraph, at which point the story fell apart and its teller admitted he'd made the whole thing up. So everywhere investigators looked, it was a dead end.
Good dad,
Looking
though.
back to the night of the disappearance, the troopers remained baffled by essentially every detail of the story. Investigator Leonard Wallner told the Anchorage Daily News that he spoke with several medical examiners in order to ascertain how far Michael could have gone had he fallen into the river that night and climbed out, though that still wouldn't explain why he'd gone that way in the first
Hi,
place.
Vanessa. How are you
And the
tonight?
consensus was
Today?
that he
Not
couldn't
night
have
yet.
gotten far. On the night Michael disappeared, temperatures had dipped down to 43 degrees Fahrenheit, or just over 6 degrees Celsius. Coupled with 17-mile-an-hour winds, they believed the chill would have brought the 5'4" tall, 110-pound teenager down within a quarter of a mile. Searchers had combed an area quite a bit larger than that, and they found nothing. The police brought in as many resources as they could gather, but without firm evidence of foul play, those resources were limited. They were able to obtain help from 3 former law enforcement officials working with Project Alert, including former DEA, former Secret Service, and a detective out of Fairbanks, but those men ran up against the same walls as everybody else had so far. I think we're in the same dilemma that the troopers are. Ron Jones, the case manager for the Project Alert team, told the Anchorage Daily News in June of 2000. Of course, everyone's not straightforward. Something did go wrong that they're not telling. But what did he mean by that? It's a question very much worth asking, even 26 years on, and it's one for which Charles Palmer was determined to find an answer. With law enforcement stymied, Michael's father turned to private investigators. Now, very little has been published about their findings, but Charles told the Mat-Su frontiersmen in 2006 that one of the PIs found out that Mike might never have left the party, and that the other had quit and even left town after receiving death threats. Charles himself left the state after his marriage to Lisa ended in divorce, and told the frontiersmen that he did so because he knew if they started threatening me, it would be the last threat they ever made. Now, it is unclear if he knew who was making the threats to his private investigators, or why he seemed so concerned about that, because, I don't think anybody would blame him. But as for what Michael's friends had said about the night he disappeared, Charles felt like they were hiding something. Tommy, Dustin, and Cameron, he told the paper, that's a bullshit story what they said. I've been out there at 2, 3, and 4 a.m. and looked. There's no way they could have seen him. Why take off in the first place? Why leave him? Now that passage in of itself is confusing because the author neglected to explain the context of the statement, there's no way they could have seen him, but the two questions he asked, why take off in the first place and why leave him, are perfectly reasonable. And, in a bizarre twist of fate, the very same questions applied to the disappearance of Chuck Palmer when he vanished nearly 11 years after his younger brother in astonishingly similar circumstances.
Would be better just
Last
to
time
take it
anyone
off.
could recall seeing Chuck Palmer, he was heading the wrong direction with a snowmobile. On April 10th of 2010, the middle Palmer son was on a snowmobiling trip in the mountains east of Talkeetna, Alaska, with his elder brother Chris, their stepfather, and 2 other unnamed companions. Oddly enough, there's very little published information about what happened to Chuck, and most of that material is vague. What we do know is that the group of 5 men were staying in a cabin somewhere in the area of Bald Mountain, about 5 miles east of Mastodon Road between Talkeetna and Sheep River, and that Chris Palmer was not along for the ride that day due to an issue with the handlebars on his snowmobile, this being that they had apparently snapped off. This was the first problem in the case of Chuck Palmer. I'm usually the last rider out there to make sure nobody gets left behind, Chris told the Anchorage Daily News on April 15th, but on this occasion, it was Chuck in that position. Unlike his older brother, Chuck was not an experienced snowmobiler, and to make matters worse, he was on a brand new machine with which he was not yet perfectly familiar. So one or both of those factors could have contributed to the mistake he made around 7:15 p.m. on Saturday the 10th. Sources aren't particularly detailed, but the story told by the rest of the group generally suggests that they were heading back to the cabin for the night when they saw Palmer on his snow machine but headed the wrong direction. Though Chris held the opinion that it's more likely they simply ran too fast for Chucky to keep up. Either way, once the group realized that Chuck was gone, they searched through the night before reporting him missing first thing on Sunday morning. That same day, searchers found the first sign of Chuck's whereabouts when they located his snowmobile stuck in a drift near Sheep River about 12 miles away from the cabin. As with most of this story, specific details are hard to come by, and the fact that many sources refer to this as Sheep Creek instead of Sheep River only complicates the matter. Sheep Creek is south of the general area of the cabin, while Sheep River is to the east and north. One of the other problems with the facts in this story surrounds that cabin, because try as I might, I could not find one place that matches the given description. While it's definitely possible that I just can't find it, it should be said that the papers could have misreported the cabin as being 5 miles east of Mastodon Road, when in reality they might have meant to say that Mastodon Road is 5 miles from the community of Talkeetna. There don't appear to be any roads that go 5 miles east of Mastodon Road, so unless they were bringing all of the supplies with them via snowmobile all the time, it would make sense if they were staying where they had reportedly parked. Whatever the case, the snowmobile was reportedly 12 miles from the cabin near Sheep River, which would put it somewhere on the eastern north side of Bald Mountain. It still had fuel, which led searchers to believe that Chuck had abandoned it after finding himself unable to dig it out. And that was a major concern because he had no survival equipment with him. He was dressed for the cold, sure, but he didn't have a GPS, food, water, or any of the gear you'd need to spend a few nights waiting for rescue in the Alaskan wilderness. Finding the snowmobile should have been the first step in tracking him down, but that too came with challenges, because even though he must have been there at some point, there were absolutely no tracks leading away from the vehicle. Something that the Anchorage Daily News reported was due to new snow which had fallen either overnight.
Oh, I was going to say alien abduction, but that's me.
The papers actually don't even mention which direction the snowmobile appeared to have been heading when it got stuck, which leaves me completely in the dark when combined with the total lack of details regarding where the cabin is. Another confusing aspect is the scenery in the area. While Alaska is a rugged place, this was a rather straightforward area to get out of by comparison. The Sheep River flows northwest out of a glacier in the Talkeetna Mountains until it reaches Bald Mountain, where it turns west, joins the Talkeetna River, and then flows right into Talkeetna itself. So assuming that Chuck was uninjured, and there was no evidence that he wasn't, all he needed to do was follow the water downstream and downhill. Hiking back through the snow below the mountain would have been an option as well, albeit much more difficult, but the mountain itself would have worked well enough
Never
as
see
a
anything.
landmark by which to guide his
Probably
way.
not.
He would avoid falling through any of the frozen ponds along the way. And even if he couldn't make it all the way back, he could have been to above the tree line, and thus been visible to the planes and helicopters flying overhead in search of him. That, among other things, is part of what makes Chuck's disappearance bizarre. It's not necessarily how he got lost or that they couldn't find him, but that he had such a straightforward way of making it to safety, and yet he never turned up. And I don't mean to make it sound like carving your way through the Alaskan wilderness alongside of a river is necessarily easy, but it is one of the less difficult situations in which people have been lost. It is much worse to be lost in a heavily forested valley with just mountains on every side. That you're screwed that way. The point is that, much as with his little brother's disappearance so many years earlier, the way home should have been relatively clear, and yet he never made it back, nor have his remains ever been found. Dogs couldn't trace his scent, aircraft found no sign of him even when the weather was clear, and there wasn't a shred of evidence as to which direction he'd gone, even though there were really only two possible ways he could have traveled back towards the cabin.
Minister Barb Adams, home support workers need you. We know you can hear us. Thousands have sent letters and thousands more are engaged in our campaign. But still, Nova Scotia's home care system is collapsing. Over 900 people approved for care are receiving none. And the workers holding it all together, exhausted, underpaid, and leaving. Minister Adams, this is your crisis, and we are out of time. Tell Minister Adams this is her moment to step up. For fair wages, guaranteed hours, safe working conditions. Visit homecareishealthcare.ca. A message from QB Nova Scotia Home Support Coordinating Committee.
You ready?
The future of Downton is now in Mary's hands.
How exciting!
The cabin. You'd expect somebody in Chuck's situation to follow the water downstream towards civilization. That's the common advice in these situations. It's not always the best advice, but it is the common advice. And he would do this either via one of the creeks in the area or by the riverside. But for some reason, he doesn't seem to have done that. Or he may have fallen into the river, but none of the reporting suggests that this was considered an option. Perhaps the biggest question of all, however, is the same one Charles Palmer asked about his youngest son a decade earlier. Why did his friends leave him behind? The reporting is split on precisely what happened that night. The group said that they saw him going the wrong direction as they were traveling back to the cabin. But if that were true, then why did they just continue back instead of chasing him down to correct his course? And what did they mean by the wrong direction? It doesn't make much sense. Chris, on the other hand, explicitly said that he thought the group was going too fast, and that Chuck simply fell behind due to lack of experience and skill driving a snowmobile, which could explain why it took the rest of them so long to notice he was gone. If that were the case, though, how did he manage to lose track of the trail left by 3 other snowmobiles? How did he end up getting so turned around that he found himself going east, which would have been visibly the wrong direction, both because of the mountain and because he'd be going uphill instead of down? The only way it really makes sense is if the point of separation occurred on the east side of the mountain where the snowmobile was found, but that would contradict what the group said in a much more significant way than what Chris proposed. In addition, if Chuck had gotten stuck on the east side of the mountain, then it doesn't make sense to lie and say that it happened while they were on their way back. And if they knew he'd gotten stuck, why did they fail to find him that same night? They should have known exactly where he was. If it was as the group said, then their decision not to go after him when they noticed he was going the wrong way is inexplicable. If it's as Chris suggested, then the location in which the snowmobile was found.
Thank you guys for the
makes
thumbs
sense.
up before you head out for the
And if
night.
the group
Always
was
appreciated.
completely lying about when and where he disappeared and knew that he was on the east side, then why did it take until the following evening to find his snowmobile? The most sensible option
Where'd
would
the
seem to
needle
be
go?
Chris's hypothesis, which just requires that his friends and stepfather lacked awareness and that Chuck made a mistake in the dark. But even then, it seems hard to imagine that he'd both get himself so completely turned around as to reach the river, and that he didn't have the presence of mind to either put himself in the most visible position possible, out in the open fields of snow, or to follow the river back to civilization. Once again, it really seems as though someone knows something and isn't speaking up, echoing the words of Ron Jones regarding Michael's disappearance. Of course everyone's not straightforward. Something did go wrong that they're not telling us. When you look at the two stories, they really are bafflingly similar. Both Palmer brothers were with a group of 3 other people, both were on their way home for the night, both were riding something, both were left behind by their companions, and in both cases, the evidence placed their last known location at or in a river. It would almost seem that the cases have to be connected, but how could they possibly be? Two brothers, 2 disappearances, and a laundry list of similarities. That is what the disappearances of Michael and Chuck Palmer had in common. On the other hand, the groups of people were completely different, the locations had little in common, and Chuck was much older and stronger than
Where's
his
your
younger
lid?
brother. As unlikely as the instances of
I
this
haven't gone
magnitude
anywhere.
seem,
I haven't
it
done
really is
anything.
hard to find
I've
a
not
way in
left.
which they could be
So where's your
connected
lid?
in any meaningful way, unless you venture pretty deep into conspiracy territory. And even then you get to the point where you need to show evidence that what happened to Michael was indeed foul play. That part, however, I actually don't believe is quite as difficult to argue for. Going back to the events of Michael's disappearance, we know that they were riding in 2 pairs before the one riding with Michael sped up, and that this occurred near the intersection of Silver and Pittman in Wasilla. Incidentally, also the spot where one would turn right to head up another road towards the river.
It's not
Then we're
perfectly
told
symmetrical.
that they rode a full 3 miles before stopping
feel
to
like
wait
it
for the
anyway.
friend they'd inexplicably left behind, and that they waited at a 7-Eleven on Park Highway for precisely 40 minutes. There's enough specific information in the story for it to sound true, but not really to explain the behavior of the boys involved. In my opinion, having looked at quite a few cases like this in my time, it feels like they did indeed tell the truth, or at least most of it. The one part they didn't explain was why they left him behind in the first place, despite giving a pretty clear-cut explanation of how that happened. Was it just a prank? That would make a lot of sense, and would track with the way 15-year-olds actually behave. Was there an argument that caused them to leave Michael behind suddenly? It wouldn't be the first time that a few slightly inebriated teenagers fought over something stupid and made rash decisions as a result. The problem with either of those options is that neither of them explain how Michael's bike ended up in the river, and how his shoes ended up on an airstrip north of it. If they left him behind because of an argument or just as a joke, then he should have either turned up at Dustin and Tommy's house or at his own. But instead, he ended up vanishing completely and leaving evidence that he'd gone in entirely the wrong direction. Now, Michael's father never bought the story that the boys told police, and to be honest, I don't know that I do either. But why would they lie? It's definitely possible that they all got into a fight and Michael ended up dead as a result, but then what happened to his body? The simple answer would be to throw him in the river and hope that he was washed away, but then he'd have been caught on one of the several log jams downstream. Then there's the bike and the shoes. While they might have thought that placing the bike in the river would imply to the authorities that he drowned, shoes on the airstrip would give the opposite impression. So why place them there if the goal was to make it seem like Michael rode into the river and drowned?
Somebody else put the shoes there.
Boys had been a year or 2 older and had access
My
to a
guess.
car. They could argue that it was a red herring to keep police occupied on the river and the airstrip, and that they just buried or dumped the body elsewhere.
Random teeth?
But they were 15, and they were on bikes. Convenient foul play on the part of Dustin, Tommy, and Cameron would be, there's just no good way of explaining how they could have pulled it off to
Where is
that
it?
degree of
Where is
success. There is another possibility involving foul play, though, which doesn't require explaining how Michael's friends harmed him and got away with it. If we assume that their story is mostly true, then the part that sticks out the most is the point of separation. There was no explanation for why one of the boys decided to suddenly
Come
run
on,
ahead,
I need a pencil.
why they didn't stop to wait or turn around to make
I
sure
don't know.
Michael was still following them. But there could be. These were 3 freshman boys at a graduation party for one of the neighborhood seniors. Freshman boys can be annoying, and seniors can drive. So could it be possible that Michael and his friends pissed off the wrong guy at one of these parties, left, and then were followed by an older teenager in a car? If so, it could be the reason that the boys weren't able to explain why they left Michael behind and didn't stop to wait for him until they reached a well-lit convenience store on the highway 3 miles away. You know, maybe as they were being chased down Pittman, and as they reached the corner of Pittman and Silver, Dustin, Tommy, and Cameron turned south, and Michael turned north. Maybe his pursuers went after the prey that broke off from the group. Maybe Michael tried to ride across the river and got stuck. Maybe he jumped off the bike and then ran towards the airfield, and maybe they caught up with him, beat him a little too hard, and left his shoes behind to confuse police while they dumped the body somewhere outside of the search area. And maybe Dustin, Tommy, and Cameron were too scared of what might happen if they spoke up. That's one of the few different possible explanations for what happened to Michael Palmer that night, and in my opinion, one of the more likely. It's certainly possible that his friends were responsible in some way, I just don't see it as very plausible. The same can be said of more supernatural explanations, given how Michael seems to have simply vanished into thin air after leaving his shoes on an airstrip. But as I've said for years, you must eliminate the mundane before considering the paranormal. And in Michael's case, there is a very plausible mundane answer, as convoluted as it might be. But eliminating the mundane isn't quite so easy in the case of Chuck Palmer. Mostly because there was absolutely no evidence of foul play, and because he absolutely should have been found somewhere along the river if he went missing where the sources say he did. The only reason I can think of to suspect foul play, and a connection with Michael's disappearance, is if he had somehow discovered that one of his companions was involved in whatever happened in 1999. Even if that were the case, though, would the other riders have gone along with it? And more importantly, would his stepfather? There's no indication that the three of them told different stories or that they contradicted each other in any way, and doing something to Chuck would have to have been pretty spur of the moment, since Chris was supposed to be along that day too. He just...
Too hot.
He just
Oh, thanks for the thumbs up before you head out for the night. Oh, appreciate it.
That anyone would have benefited from Chuck's death, so it's hard to come up with a rational explanation for a motive. In the end, as unbelievable as it is, any perceived connection here really does seem to be the result of a bizarre, tragic coincidence. Yet, at the same time, neither case is well explained by accident, making for a genuinely strange situation in which two brothers went missing in very similar, yet unconnected and totally unexplained circumstances. Like I said, I think that foul play does make the most sense in Michael's case, but they were never able to find the evidence for it, and I'm genuinely at a loss for Chuck, because it's possible that he did just make some really bad choices and wander off into the woods, and that he's never going to be found, but I just can't imagine not taking the obvious choice of following the river. But if you guys have any other ideas, or
unless he was being hunted by a mountain lion,
or I missed some information,
and he
let
got
me know down in the comments,
jumped
and I will take a look,
and buried,
if I end up talking about this story in the future,
and that's why they couldn't see the body, and the fresh snow.
If you want to support what we do here at the Lore Lodge, you can like, subscribe, share the video. Those are actually the most efficient ways of doing it. But you can also subscribe on Patreon for just $1 a month. We are putting up scripts starting very soon. We'll be uploading ad-free episodes of this show. We're shooting for October on that. And there's also some other little, fun exclusive goodies in there. You can also drink our...
I don't know what I would offer as exclusive goodies when if I ever got monetized. I can't imagine somebody wanting to just have, you can pay people and just have, the private live stream with, just a few people. What are they going to do, sit here and... The glue's seeping out. That stitch is off. Are you done yet?
I'll be streaming a lot of Battlefield and a lot of Helldivers, and I'm going to try to get back to doing some commentary streams, because, to be honest, it's getting hard to find topics to cover. So I'm going to use that as an opportunity to go find new cases, take your recommendations, and steal other people's cases. But by that,
Do Zach LaFay from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada.
I mean, there's a finite number of missing people out there. We're all going to dip into the same pool at some point. Now, if you would like to wear our skin, you can feel as though you're doing so by going to Bunker Branding and purchasing from their Lore Lodge collection. We have a number of designs. And
I literally was out trying to find him.
As always,
My broken
there's ways to
feet.
get updates on what we're up to, interact
I think
with
he ended
us,
up in
and
somebody's
interact
deep
with
freeze and
the
got fed to the dogs out
show.
back.
Join
But
our
that's
Discord at
my opinion.
bit.ly/jointhelodge, and all of these
I think
links are down in the description.
he went out to find some drugs,
Last but not
and I
least,
think he
we
found
have
them.
our live show,
And then
Lad,
something bad happened.
which is Monday nights at
And
7
then I
p.m.
think he ended up in
Pacific
somebody's
time.
deep freeze in
And if you're
pieces.
catching this video on the day
And then I
it came
got,
out,
then I
it
think he
wasn't
got fed
the
to
past
like the
Monday
dogs in the
show.
backyard.
That's 'cause we were in Montana,
That's what I think happened.
and now we're not. So the show must go on.
That's the negative one, I think. And the positive, I think, what happened to Zach is hitchhiking, New Year's Eve. Some old guy picked him up. Zach got confused, got dropped off where he wasn't supposed to be dropped off. Because Zach didn't have any pants. He left, did not have pants. So naturally, some old guy, I remember being that young and drunk, picked up Zach, drove him to where he was thought he was supposed to go, dropped Zach off, got up the next morning, turned that on TV, found out he's missing, went, oh my god, that's the kid I drove home last night, and his stroke or heart attack and drops dead on the floor. And that's why we don't know where Zach is. Because it was a good intention, and yeah, that's like the best case scenario of what happened to Zach in my head. He got picked up, dropped off where he said he wanted to go, was in the wrong location. The guy got up the next morning, saw that Zach's missing, presumed dead, obviously, because it was freezing that night, and had such a panic attack, he had a stroke and died, and that's why we'll never find him. Or at least not for a long time. That is my opinion of what happened to Zach. And because everything else he ends up murdered. Everything else he ends up murdered. Because he is not where he was when he left the party. Okay. Alright, let's see if you fit. Oh, just like that. Now, I gotta get you some horns and some eyes. Let's get you some eyes first.
It's always up as a video, and of course you can catch it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, 2 days after it goes live. And of course, thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this video, and so many of our others over the years. With all that said, I'm Madison, and thank you for stopping by the world.
The first pair I get is going to be... Alright, we're going with blue. In the hole, that creates a base on both sides of the fabric. And then we just put that in there, right there.
Shake and win millions of prizes with the AliExpress $1
Fill the hole.
They say you're never too young to enjoy the great outdoors, but you're also never too young to go missing in Yosemite National Park. Dennis said this was nearly the exact same intro as the last video. Welcome to Orline.
That is not right there. Alright. Whatever.
At the end of our first episode of the Yosemite series, I mentioned a case which had absolutely zero details, and how it really shouldn't have been included as a missing 411 case in the first place. I also said that I believe the only reason it was included was because of its proximity to another case in the cluster, that of 12-year-old Kenny Miller, who disappeared in 1992. Just as with Michael Wall, this is another case that didn't actually occur inside of Yosemite, which Missing 411 author David Politis acknowledges early on. He also mentions that Kenny was developmentally disabled and had the emotional and intellectual age of a 4-year-old. So you have to keep that in mind when thinking about his decision-making. Now, I was able to confirm those details via a June 25th, 1992 Sacramento Bee article, which also gave a good summary of Kenny's disappearance. According to the paper, Kenny's parents last saw him skipping rocks in a stream before they walked over to look at an old cabin a short distance away. 9-foot-high willows stood between them, obscuring their view of Kenny, and at some point in the 2 or 3 minutes they were told being out of sight, he vanished. This is largely the same narrative given by Politis, which suggests to me that this is one of the articles he used when writing the story.
Kind of gaudy,
Kenny's
but
parents did what they could to search for him at first, but quickly brought in the authorities when it became
a little
clear
bit
that their
bright
son
for
wasn't
me, though.
anywhere in the immediate vicinity. The resulting effort included hundreds of volunteers on horseback, rangers and deputies, 9 dog teams, and 6 helicopters, but Kenny was nowhere to be found in the 8,000-high Mice Meadowlands. Unfortunately, the massive effort yielded no results, and on June 2nd, the Alpine County Sheriff's Department made the difficult decision to suspend the search. After 9 days of rain, snow, and winds, the likelihood that Kenny remained alive was slim, and search crews were utterly exhausted. 2 days later, their worst fears were confirmed. Hikers on a ridge near Stevens Peak found his body at an elevation of 9,800 feet. I found 11 pages of articles on the Kenny Miller disappearance, Politis writes, and not one inquired why the boy would be over 1,400 feet in elevation higher than where he went missing. He also found it odd that not one made mention of the lack of shoes, socks, etc. found on the boy, and that not one article mentioned that the boy's body was at one of the highest points in this area of the Sierras. Of course, the Fresno Bee mentioned all of those things, and noted that the boy's shoes were right next to him. A follow-up article in the Bee added that Kenny suffered mild seizures which disabled his right side, adding another dimension to the issue of how he'd ended up in this predicament. Politis' biggest concern, however, appears to be with Kenny's elevation, which is simply explained by the fact that young children, and remember, Kenny had the mind of a 4-year-old, often seek elevation rather than shelter in an attempt to get themselves unlost. There is one thing that made me consider putting Kenny's case into my orange category, however, which is this seems a little mysterious, but there might be mundane explanations. And it's actually the same one that Politis arguably had for including it in this chapter as a whole. There are 2 other disappearances, though they're a few decades earlier, in which young children went missing in very similar circumstances. And these are the cases of 3-year-old David Scott in 1957 and 4-year-old Donald Griffin in 1963. But before we get into the rest of this video, which was originally supposed to be part of last week's video before I realized I wrote 2 videos at once, and then did almost the exact same, intro for both of those videos, we thought it would be fun to do almost the exact same ad. So let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Fume. Fume is an award-winning company that makes this handy-dandy flavored air device that we've been advertising for about 2.5 years now. Why have we been advertising this little guy for 2.5 years now? Well, part of it is because it does this really fun fidgety thing, but more importantly, it's because it actually is a helpful product. It has a legitimate mission statement, which is to help you kick the bad part out of your bad habits. Maybe you're the kind of person who ends up karaoke night on a Thursday night. After a few drinks, everybody heads outside to indulge in bad habits. Well, if you are, that's what Fume is here to help with. There's social pressure. You might have been enjoying these bad habits since your youth, and that can make it hard to quit cold turkey. But if you can, just take the bad part out and still enjoy the social aspect, that might help you kick it for good. And while certain habits might involve things like smoke or vapor, Fume is just flavored air. There's this little stick inside of it that's, naturally flavored and replaceable. You pop that in there, stick that over here, decide how much airflow you want, and then you just... And as you can see, nothing came out but air. Flavored O2 goes in, flavored CO2 goes out. No smoke, no vapor, no nicotine, just natural flavored air that gives you something to reach for without worrying about all the harmful chemicals. And one of the fun things is that, since this is not a bad habit, you can actually customize the flavors. Like I have a raspberry lemon in here, and I love it. And you don't need to just listen to me or the several friends I have who have picked this guy up because I told them about it. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume, and it's easy to understand why. It's simple, satisfying, and doesn't come with any of the downsides of smoking or vaping. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack using our code LORELODGE, you will get a free little Fume topper, which I personally like the feel of the plain metal, but it's a little silicone guy that just goes over the top, allows you to be a little bit more customized, and gives it a different mouthfeel. So, if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect first step. Head on over to tryfume.com/LoreLodge or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today.
IXL is helping 15 million students succeed in math and language arts. On IXL, your child can stay on track or get ahead by practicing with fun interactions. Whether they learn best with step-by-step explanations, video tutorials, or games, IXL is here to help. Over 75 scientific research studies show that you're choosing the best educational technology. Hand your child the keys to success. Join IXL today.
David Allen Scott was on a camping trip with his parents and two older siblings at Anetsmano Village on the western side of Twin Lakes when he disappeared on July 3, 1957. According to the Stockton Evening and Sunday Record, he was playing with a group of 6 children near his family's campsite when he apparently wandered off. Between that Saturday and the following Monday, over 250 searchers, including both volunteers and Marines, assisted the Monmouth County Sheriff's Department looking for the missing toddler, but they could find no evidence of his whereabouts anywhere in the valley, even with the use of bloodhounds. Police actually dedicates several pages to this case, which surprised me since the scant media coverage of events. A lot of what he discussed is just general information about the area, however, with a few details about the actual search scattered around. The important things to know are as follows. The area in which David Scott disappeared is a small valley north of where Fred Clausen lived, which is moderately forested and surrounded on 3 sides by 66 great mountain slopes and a large lake on the other. The village itself is at just under 7,200 feet in elevation, while the ridges to the north and south soar up to 9,000 to 10,000 feet. The highest peak in the area is Eagle Peak, which reaches about 11,800 feet at its tallest point and has a ridge to its south separating its base from the valley. According to Politis, the search was so extensive and comprehensive that by the morning of the 15th, both law enforcement and David's parents believed that he had likely been kidnapped. And an all-points bulletin was released to nearby counties in case someone spotted a child matching his description. Everyone was quite surprised then when a Marine found one of David's canvas shoes at an elevation of 10,000 feet on the slopes of Eagle Peak to the north of the village. Politis writes that searchers used the shoes to send canine teams, and then the search continued up the hillside until it peaked at just over 10,000 feet. Following the dogs, he says that searchers went down the backside of the mountain that now put Mono Village out of sight, and found themselves at the base of Eagle Peak. A short while later, Politis writes, on a hillside ridden with huge boulders, Marine Sergeant O'Brien found the body of David Scott, dressed only in his t-shirt and one sock, with no other clothes in sight. And according to the Mono Herald and Bridgeport Chronicle-Union, he was found face down on the lower side of the river. Now again, I know this might seem like nitpicking, but according to the San Francisco Examiner, David Scott was actually found almost fully clothed. He was missing only his pants and the single canvas shoe found further down the mountain, but otherwise had his sock, his shirt, all of that. In addition, the paper published a graphic which showed the location of the body as being in a completely different place than the one described by Politis, that being on the south side of the ridge overlooking Mono Village,
Fine.
side beneath Eagle Peak. And while the paper did say that he was found at about 10,000 feet, earlier reporting in the Stockton Evening and Sunday Record via the AP claimed that he was actually just 8,500 feet up the slope. Reporting is consistently inconsistent on this aspect, however, with papers reporting one of the two numbers, but never any others. I think Politis probably went with the higher number because it helped one of his points, which was that Robert Tester's book, Lost Person Behavior, apparently says that a child 1 to 3 years old will be found 99% of the time climbing upward less than 2,300 feet, and that this is usually a gradual path rather than heading up a steep slope. Politis also writes, I would be very interested in the condition of David's feet when he was found, asking if they were scratched, worn, and injured, before suggesting that they must have been if he had hiked that distance without shoes. Now, as Politis would know, if he ever bothered to read past exactly what he needed to fit his confirmation bias, David Scott was only missing one shoe, and that shoe was found rather close to his body. Politis then suggests that David Scott only could have gotten to the point he did if he were kidnapped, but doesn't seem to question that hypothesis in any meaningful way whatsoever. For example, what motive would there be to take a child up a mountainside that rises 200 feet for every 300 feet of lateral distance? Even though David was only about 40 pounds, that is still not an easy climb. It seems that Politis based his belief that this was a kidnapping largely on the fact that David could have looked down at any point and seen the camping area, so if he continued going up, then it must have been because he wasn't actually walking there himself. Paulides also questioned the medical examiner's findings that the boy died of exposure because, as he put it, the sheriff stated early in this search that the weather was very mild, not hot and not cold. But in reality, Paulides didn't quote the sheriff. He quoted an article in the Youngstown, Ohio newspaper, which read, "Mild weather has aided and diminished fears the boy may have suffered from exposure." The problem is that on July 15th, which was the day Paulides said that article was published, nobody was looking at the 10,000-foot level, which would be anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees colder than the valley floor at 7,000 feet. The last key element of this case, the author writes, was the observations made by Sergeant O'Brien when he found David's body. A member of the press asked if there were signs of violence on the body. O'Brien didn't answer the question. Paulides continues on, arguing that the soldier would have been able to see odd marks on the child. If O'Brien hadn't seen something strange, I think he would have stated that. It must have been a shocking sight to see a nude boy's body in a boulder-strewn field on the side of a mountain. First of all, Sergeant O'Brien was a Marine, not a soldier, and that is a distinction that they care very much about. Second, as we established, Scott was almost fully clothed and just missing his pants and one shoe. Finally, what O'Brien actually said, as quoted by Paulides himself earlier in this chapter, was, "I don't know, that is out of my line." O'Brien was a Marine speaking to the media. He was not a park ranger. He was not law enforcement. He didn't say anything because it wasn't his job to comment on that kind of thing, and because the child he observed was, again, almost fully clothed. Speaking of which, David Paulides wrote that from the vast amounts of archived articles I have read about this incident, of which there really are not that many that aren't the same AP wire, by the way, David's pants were never found. How could this happen? The answer is simple. The pants were reportedly brown. Brown is not an easy color to see out in the wilderness. There's a reason that it's frequently used in camouflage. Now, all of that said, it is weird. This is a genuinely weird situation, even if you take the most conservative view and argue that David Scott was found at 8,500 feet on the slope right above the village. That is a nearly vertical climb. Authorities had no idea how he got there. There really isn't a good explanation for this beyond a small child doing something incredibly unlikely, or someone kidnapping him and taking him up a mountain for entirely unclear reasons. One other bizarre detail came from the Mono Herald and Bridgeport Chronicle Union, which reported on July 19, 1957, that the boy's body was almost black from exposure to the sun. I personally have never in my life heard of somebody's body turning black from just 3 days in the sun. Then again, I am not a medical examiner, so maybe that does happen. But no matter how you look at it, it does come across as a genuinely bizarre case, even if not for the reasons speculated by Paulides, which again are in service of the suggestion that it was Bigfoot. Now, 6 years after the tragic death of David Scott, 4-year-old Donald Griffin suffered a similar fate after disappearing from Huntington Lake on August 22nd, 1963. Similar to Scott's case, the family was camping by a body of water at about 7,000 feet in elevation, and it seemed that the child just wandered away.
Need to wait for the horns to dry.
They'll
put the horns on them.
Fuck
off now. There we go.
His parents had a more concrete idea of when he disappeared. The boy's
That needs more
mother
in that
said
head, though. I took too much out.
before breakfast Thursday to look for a coyote he heard barking, which actually turned out to be a German Shepherd. In any case, they contacted the Forest Service and the local sheriff for assistance, and around 200 people turned out to look for the missing child. According to Paulides, efforts were unsuccessful for several days, but on the morning of the fourth search day, a team of the Potter Pass Trail stumbled across Donald Griffin's body, lying face up over a large branch of a fallen pine tree. Search and rescue teams told news sources that they had been on this trail scores of times and never saw what they found at 4:20 p.m. on August 26th, Paulides writes, citing an article from August 27th in the LA Times, which quoted Searcher Robert Stiver as saying, "It's a complete mystery why he went up." As for the cause of death, Sheriff's Officer A.L. Collins told the Times that it appears the boy just lay down and went to sleep and never woke up, most likely due to a mixture of exhaustion, hunger, and exposure. It was no shock that he had passed away, however, being as he had been without food or water for several days by the time searchers made it to him, and temperatures had dipped into the low 30s over several of the nights he was missing. Interestingly enough, the LA Times article cited by Paulides offered more information than he gave, explaining that tracks of the boy's bare feet led to the discovery of the body. But God forbid we include that detail, which makes it sound far less mysterious than the version where he just sort of materialized on a pine tree. The more peculiar parts were the fact that searchers had been through the area and had not seen him, and that he was found at around 10,000 feet in elevation. Politis did, however, as you might expect, fudge the details about that first bit. While searchers had been in the area every day since he disappeared, Stiver was also quoted as saying, "It is steep, rocky, brushy, rugged terrain, and there was so much cover that you could have walked right past him." What is a bit odd is the location where he was found, because it was about 5 miles from camp, very much uphill, and not particularly far from a trail, at least today. I don't know if that trail was there in 1963.
Alright, we just need to wait for his horns.
That Donald, who was only 4 years old after all, got disoriented and just followed the trail, hoping it would lead him back to safety somewhere. But the similarities to David Scott's case...
This is not Winnie the Pooh, by the way. This is definitely not Winnie the Pooh.
Bigfoot is to blame? Not necessarily.
Not at all.
But in one of the cases in the next chapter of this video, Bigfoot actually is very directly blamed. Bigfoot actually is very directly blamed.
How wet is he?
An anxious father and brother led searchers
Actually, not very.
in
He's
snow and
dense,
clouds
but he's not
on
wet, so he
Rocky
did dry
Mountain
good enough.
at the base of Shut-Eye Peak tonight in the hunt for a 10-year-old boy lost in the freezing mountain region. Read the May 27, 1934 edition of the Fresno Bee. In the United States, we typically think of May as being one of the warmer months of the year,
That's an
but
uncomfortable
when you're
feeling.
high in the Sierra Nevadas, that's not always the case. The McPherson brothers and their 12-year-old cousin, Howard Ibbotson, learned this the hard way when a late spring snowstorm saw them trapped until after nightfall deep inside of Yosemite's wilderness. The unexpected weather took them by surprise while they were fishing at the headwaters of Rock Creek beneath Shut-Eye Peak, but at first that wasn't much of a concern. 20-year-old Robert and his 10-year-old younger brother Richard were the sons of Chester McPherson, a Forest Service ranger stationed atop the mountain above, and he had taught his boys well. The elder McPherson coordinated the construction of a makeshift shelter to keep them relatively safe from the weather, but when the storm cleared the next morning, he knew that the younger boys were going to need help getting out. Entrusting Howard to look after Richard, Robert set off to make his way up 3,000 feet to his father's ranger station. There's not a ton of coverage of this case, but from what little we do have, it would appear that Robert made good time, and was on his way back with a group of rangers when he encountered Howard along the trail. But it's about this point in the story where things begin to get a little bit confusing. First of all, it's unclear why Robert left the boys behind in the first place. The Fresno Bee article doesn't give a precise reason, saying only that this morning Robert left to seek aid, leaving the others sleeping. Other papers, like the Napa Journal, don't provide much in the way of clarification, saying only that Robert, realizing their plight, left the younger boys and started searching for aid. Then there's the encounter with Howard, during which the Bee reports that the Ibbotson boy said he had left Richard asleep, while the Journal, which was running the United Press Wire Service version of the story, reads that Howard told Robert that Richard had disappeared from their camp. The Salinas Morning Post echoed the latter paper's coverage, running with the line, "Howard made no further explanation than that Richard had disappeared from camp." One question is, why did Robert need to go find help if Howard had no trouble getting back to the trail? And another was Richard sleeping, or had he gone missing? Whatever the case, when Robert and the others arrived where the campsite was believed to have been, Richard was indeed nowhere to be found, and 40 rangers made their way down Rock Creek to look for him. They searched through the night, but a combination of fog, snow, and darkness hindered their progress through Saturday the 26th and into the 27th. For searchers, it was a race against time, as they knew that Richard wasn't dressed for the weather that had come into the region. The boys also hadn't planned to stay overnight, so he was without any camping supplies, food, or heating matches, and thus had only his overalls and a light Mackinaw jacket to keep him warm. The search continued overnight
Hi, how are you?
the 27th into the morning of the 28th, and it was on that Monday morning that the rangers found the young boy, sadly deceased, and once again, the story gets weird. You see, according to the Fresno Bee, Richard wasn't lost at all. He was right where Howard had left him at their makeshift campsite. The May 28th edition of the paper reported that Robert conducted a party of searchers to the district where the three had been fishing, but was unable to locate the place where they had camped. The B, consistent with its earlier coverage, also noted that the Ibbotson boy told forest officials that he had vainly tried to awaken Richard Saturday morning, but when repeated efforts were unsuccessful, he decided to go on alone. All of that is very reasonable, except for the part where the United Press Wire totally contradicted it. According to the Ventura County Star, which published the Wire Service's version the same day, Richard's lightly clad body, huddled beside a large rock, was found by a party of forest rangers and civilian conservation corps workers about 1,000 feet down the mountainside from the overnight camp from which he had become lost. While both articles reported that Richard had died from exposure, those are two completely different scenarios. On the one hand, we have reports saying that Howard left his body unresponsive in the exact place where he had camped. But on the other hand, we have a story which explicitly says that the boy was a considerable distance away, and that Howard had no clue where he was when he left to get help.
Where are the fucking spiders?
But oddly enough, they are not what David Paulides identifies as being the weird part of this case. Instead, he points to another segment of the Fresno Bee article, which describes how Richard's overalls had been removed, presumably because they had become wet in the stream overnight. Wait a minute, Paulides writes. His overalls had been removed? That makes no sense. Pointing out that Rock Creek is a creek, not a river, which is kind of an arbitrary delineation, but that's not really the point here. He goes on to say that I have spoken to many survival experts about the overalls statement, and it doesn't make sense to anyone. It was raining and snowing in the days just prior to Richard being found. I don't think a 10-year-old would be stripping his clothes off. Looking for more clothes. What the size of the creek has to do with that goes entirely unexplained, and David goes on to say that the issue of the overalls being off the body obviously struck the writer of the article as being so odd that he included it in his summary and even attempted to logically explain it away. I don't think it can be. Of course, the fact that he took off his soaking wet clothes actually makes complete sense, and for multiple reasons. The journalist's explanation that they might have become wet in the stream probably came not from the writer, but from the rangers, and all that would be required for them to get that wet is that Richard fell into the creek. Alternatively, they might have become wet due to the rain, sleet, and snow reported in the line directly preceding the one about the overalls, which David himself included in his summary about the case. Personally, I'd be willing to bet that the word written by the journalist was originally storm, and that stream was simply a misprint. Even without that explanation, there's also
I gotta go cut all three of these.
Undressing, which sometimes occurs at the onset of severe hypothermia. In all honesty, I think David was looking for something to find in the coverage that can be presented as weird enough to include it in the book, and mainly because of what he says in the very next paragraph. Two extremely odd and unrelated disappearances have occurred in the Shut-Eye Peak area in the last 49 years. Almost 49 years to the day. A very, very odd coincidence, he says. The disappearance of Teresa Beer and the body found of Richard McPherson. I do have to stop for a minute and just point out, this is very weirdly written. Like, he wrote this in such
Anybody seen the Hacksaw?
The end of the English language is really not there. Also, he said the last 49 years. The book was written in 2011. There were 49 years between these two cases. Actually, 16-year-old Teresa Beer, as we're about to discuss, went missing from Shut-Eye Peak on June 1st, 1987, which is 53 years after McPherson disappeared.
I just need to find out what I put down yesterday after the spiders.
And imagine the odds that Teresa and Richard both disappeared in nearly the exact same spot. Pay no mind to the fact that, there's a trail right there that people walk on frequently. He is right to say, though, that this is very nearly the exact same spot, at least in the grand scheme of things. From the top of Shut-Eye Peak to the point where Richard was discovered is about 2 miles as the crow flies, though of course it would be a greater distance following the trails. Paulides writes that this was the case which inspired him to conduct additional research in the Shut-Eye Peak area, and that's how he discovered that, interestingly, Teresa disappeared in an area that topographically matches many associated with missing people in the greater Yosemite area. Rocky, large granite outcroppings, etc. Once again, pay no mind to the fact that, according to the National Park Service, the park boundary perfectly frames a landscape that is composed almost entirely of granite, and it's no surprise that this landscape contains some of the most iconic rock formations on Earth. The circumstances of Teresa's disappearance, however, are what David is really looking at. According to Paulides,
I feel like I brought it out here, but I don't know what I did with it.
This is it. Why does he say that? let's go through his version of the story. Teresa Beer was Russell Welch's neighbor, he begins, adding that Welch gained permission to take Teresa on a camping trip near a shut-eye peak at an elevation of 8,200 feet in the Sierra National Forest. There is a road that goes to the summit, and the area immediately around the summit has large...
I have a real hacksaw, just, it's in the mess. So this dollar store shit will do.
Profile, which David Politis believes ties all of these disappearances together. You can see more on that in the first of our videos on the Pennsylvania cluster from earlier this year. Anyway, the important part comes immediately after that, when Politis explains that Russell claimed to be an expert on the topic of Bigfoot, and the two were supposedly looking for the biped. And Politis himself is of course a Bigfoot researcher and author, and repeatedly tries to draw the reader's attention to clues that Bigfoot is responsible for many of these disappearances throughout the series.
Those for another project.
More on that in our second video on the Pennsylvania cluster from earlier this year. You can see more on that in our second video on the Pennsylvania cluster from earlier this year. In any case, Politis goes on to say that sometime during the trip, Russell claims that Teresa was abducted by a tribe of Bigfoot, and that when he returned home to Fresno without her, that's precisely what he told the police when he reported her missing. Welch then guided a surely skeptical group of authorities to the point where he said that this happened, and when there was no tribe of Big Feet, he was promptly charged with abduction of a child. The problem, however, according to Politis, was that no evidence of Teresa could be found whatsoever, and thus there was no evidence that Russell had actually done anything to the girl. So the charges were dropped, and follow-up searches were unsuccessful in finding her. Now, off the bat, the earliest reporting I could find on Teresa's disappearance directly contradicts Politis' account. In a June 19, 1987 article published in the very paper that Politis references as his source, Fresno Bee, journalist Louis Galvin reported that Fresno Police Detective Doug Stokes said Welch reported he looked for the girl for about 2 days before he returned to Fresno, but did not tell anyone about her disappearance. Contrary to David's version, which I'll remind you claimed Welch was the one who reported her missing, it was actually Teresa's uncle and legal guardian, John Richmond, who reported her missing on the night of June 1st. And in something of a double whammy to David Politis' credibility, the very next sentence in the article reads, Richmond, according to investigators, said Teresa had left that morning with Welch and was supposed to give her a ride to school. So no, Russell Welch did not have permission to take Teresa Bigfoot hunting in the High Sierras, and in fact had offered to drive Teresa to school while visiting the Richmond household that same morning. Teresa never made it to school that morning, and according to the Bee, the investigation revealed that she had been seen with Welch that day at different locations by people who knew her. These witnesses informed police that Teresa told them they were going to the mountains to look for Bigfoot, and Detective Stokes said that she was described as pretty excited about the whole thing. During the course of the following few days, and I want to be clear here that they did not know where Welch was yet, Stokes discovered that Welch was familiar with the Sierra country between Yosemite and Madera, and so the detective reached out to the Mariposa County Sheriff's Department and the U.S. Forest Service Rangers. It probably should be noted at this point that Shut-Eye Peak isn't actually in Yosemite National Park, but is in fact part of the Sierra National Forest. But I digress. The first break in the case, because at this point both Russell and Teresa were still unaccounted for, came when Madera County deputies spotted Welch's 1977 tan-over brown Monte Carlo in a remote area near North Fork on June 5th. Unfortunately, the deputies made the mistake of leaving the unoccupied vehicle without establishing surveillance, and when they returned several hours later, the car was gone. Thankfully, Welch was, as you've probably noticed, not the brightest knife in the shed, and on June 10th, the police found him at his mother's house in Fresno's Sunnyside neighborhood. According to the Bee, it was at this point that Russell told police about the Bigfoot hunting trip, and Welch agreed to lead them out to the place he claimed to have last seen the missing girl, that being a campsite near Shut-Eye Peak. He said this is where he and Teresa set up camp, Stokes told the Bee, adding that he claims they made several sightings of Bigfoot, and that he wanted to return to the camp, but she refused and they became separated. According to Stokes, Welch said that the last time he'd seen Teresa was on the night of June 2nd, and that he searched for her for 2 days before he gave up and returned to Fresno. In yet another direct contradiction to Paulides' account, the Bee reported that investigators searched the camp on June 11th and found Teresa's purse and several articles of clothing belonging to her, which is a far cry from no evidence of any kind. That said, further searches with bloodhounds in the following 2 days failed to turn up any sign of Teresa, which isn't surprising given that it had been over a week since she'd last been at the campsite, as far as anyone knew. At the time of printing, the Bee reported that Welch had been arraigned for child abduction several days earlier.
Give me a second.
And had pleaded not guilty before being released without bail under the condition that he would appear before the court on August 4th, 1987, which would be utterly shocking if this weren't California in the 1980s. It's possible that it had something to do with Welch's genuine appearing insistence that he was, and I quote, a student of Bigfoot and a firm believer that such a creature exists, which may have been bolstered by his detailed claim that, and again I quote, there is a commune and they are able to communicate with each other. He also described the apparently not yet as famous cryptids as normally 7 to 9 feet tall with dark short hair, which honestly is not the most out there description of Bigfoot communities that I've ever seen, and more on that in our multi-part series on Bigfoot from last year. As for Teresa and how she ended up in this mess, it's worth mentioning that investigators described her as a slow learner and very immature for her age, with a very immature voice, much like an 8 or 9-year-old child. Something that it would really seem got good old Russell Welch a little too excited. I say it would seem because, shockingly, Welch never faced trial, even though he was ultimately rearrested and bail set $30,000 on June 19, 1987. In October of 1987, Fresno County Deputy District Attorney Elvoice Hooper, what a name that is, requested that the charges be dismissed, though not for lack of evidence, as Paulides would have us believe. Investigators were pretty sure they could nail Welch for child abduction, since he didn't have permission to take her in the mountains. Like, that part was cut and dry. If they were charging him with that, he was going to jail. The problem was that if they tried him for abduction, and years later a body turned up, protections against double jeopardy would mean he'd be immune to any murder charges. With that, they let Welch walk, hoping that sometime in the future they'd have the evidence to put him away for good. 5 years passed before any further coverage hit the press, and in 1992, John Richmond spoke to the Bee once more about his missing niece. Man, she's dead, he told reporter Pablo Lopez, or she's been sold into slavery. No one could go that long and not get in touch with their family. Richmond laid the blame squarely on the shoulders of Russell Welch, whose name was conspicuously absent from the article, saying that he had brainwashed Teresa into believing in Bigfoot. Detective Stokes was of a similar opinion, reportedly believing that Welch knows more than he's saying, and that there's
I hate waiting shit to dry.
It is pretty clear that whatever happened to Teresa, Welch was responsible, and it's just acceptable that someone who styles himself as a former detective, like David Paulides does, would try and pretend otherwise in order to sell books. He referenced the same articles that I used to write this, so it's hard to believe that he didn't know he was just straight up lying about this case.
Well, let's try. Let's work on another one. Alright, what's next?
That I used to write this, so it's hard to believe that he didn't know he was just straight up lying about this case.
Do have you.
The last of the youth cases in what I've taken to calling the isolation cluster is that of Michael Machen, who was 20 years old when he disappeared in August of 1996. Michael was a student at California State University Humboldt, which somewhat ironically means he was going to school in the very place where the modern Bigfoot legend originated back in the 1950s. Towards the end of summer vacation that year, however, he decided his last hurrah before hitting the books would be a camping trip at Sandbar Flat, a little under 20 miles northeast of Sonora. A few friends would be joining him, but Michael and his dog Matilda decided to head out a couple of days ahead of them to get set up and enjoy the peace of mind.
Not the dog.
They arrived on Sunday, August.
I already hate the story if you involve a dog.
Michael set up camp before heading out to do some fishing. After that, nobody's entirely sure what happened. According to the Modesto Bee, which was the only paper to cover the incident in any detail, his friends arrived on Tuesday as scheduled to find his Chevy Cavalier, his camping equipment, and a lit campfire, but nothing else. Politis explains that an extensive search was performed without finding any evidence, until 4 days after Michael disappeared, Matilda wandered into the campsite,
good, she's okay.
dehydrated and tired.
Baby.
Then, with the quick mention that searchers tried to get the dog to lead them to Michael, but that was unsuccessful, he ended the section by saying that Michael's parents have since passed away and that he has never been found. I would say that I'm intrigued by the fact that he left out the part where witnesses saw Michael and Matilda sitting by a lit campfire, or that his fishing pole and tackle box were reportedly missing, or that his friend said that when they arrived his campfire was lit and then some creepy guy popped out of the bushes and asked, "What are you doing here?" But unfortunately, I know exactly why he didn't mention any of that. It's the same reason he failed to point out that police were heavily suspicious of foul play from the moment Matilda turned up. If it was a person that hurt Michael, then it wasn't Bigfoot. And if it's not Bigfoot, it doesn't help sell books. Or convince people that we should be funding research on Bigfoot or something. I'm still not totally sure what that means. In any case, police were confident that it was foul play, at least for a time, though the suspicion was not so much for what they found, but what they didn't find. Tuolumne County Sheriff's investigator Steve Clark told the Bee that when someone drowns, there's usually a trace, and that they'd scoured the river and canyon, but couldn't find anything. However, as they spent months investigating the case, speaking to anyone who knew Michael or had seen him that weekend, and searching the trails, all they could conclude was that Michael was an incredibly well-liked person, and they couldn't find anyone with a motive to harm him. The family grew so desperate that they brought in a psychic, but unsurprisingly, she was bewildered by the situation. Which I gotta say, props to that psychic. A lot of the times people bring in psychics, they're like, he will be found next to some trees and a rock with a river nearby, as they talk about a place that is defined by that description. At least this psychic was like, yeah, man, I don't know. So by the time that the investigation was sort of wrapping up, the only clue they had was Matilda's mournful whines and howls as they led her down the canyon, hoping that the dog would somehow give them an idea of where her owner had gone. Now, Politis is correct in saying that to this day, no trace of Michael Machen has ever turned up. One suspect may have been questioned in connection with his disappearance, a man by the name of Joseph Tyne, but I've only found one source claiming this happened, and it's an ancient angel fire site by a woman named Sue Kaiser. Because there's no way to corroborate that, I don't think it can really be considered reliable. I do also think that David Politis is correct to find this case odd, but it seems far more likely that it was foul play rather than something unexplainable. That said, there is one aspect that gives me pause, and it's the way that the papers describe Matilda. You see, Sandbar Flat Campground is surrounded on 3 sides by streams and rivers, and yet the Bee said she was dehydrated. It could just be an exaggeration, or it could mean that she wandered back from the one direction where she wouldn't have crossed water, which would be south. If she did, and she was with Michael when he disappeared, then that means he went missing in an area where multiple Forest Service roads wind through the mountains for untold miles. The question then is, why was he up that mountain? His fishing gear never turned up, so far as I can tell, which would make you think he'd be by the water. On the other hand, if someone attacked him, they'd have hit him. But could they carry a 6-foot, 1-inch tall man up 2,000 feet of elevation, all while a dog nipped at their heels? It seems rather unlikely. Then again, maybe that Joseph Tynes guy, or someone like him, really did harm Michael. If the source mentioning him is to be believed, Tynes was interviewed 9 months later by police, but he passed a polygraph, and no evidence linked him to the case besides the statements of Michael's friends. Even then, you have to wonder how someone pulls something like that off in a National Forest-operated campground without being seen or leaving signs of a struggle. And also, how does Matilda fit into it if they did? Did they take her with them and then let her out? Did she chase their car down the road and then wander off into the woods for 5 days? Those explanations don't seem particularly reasonable either.
She was tied up and chewed herself free, or somehow got free.
Down to Stanislaus for over 20 miles and into New Melonia Lake.
When Ivy rolls, she'll unclip her leash sometimes.
That seems unlikely as well, as does a wild animal taking his fishing gear back to its den and leaving his dog alive. One possibility that came to mind as I was finishing this segment is that Matilda might have been the cause of his disappearance. Maybe she ran off, he chased after her, injured himself, and then she stayed with him, protecting him until the end. That would explain the dehydration, as dogs will loyally stay by their owners, even at risk of their own health. But if that were the case, how far could he really have gone, and could he really be so far outside the search area that nobody has ever found so much as a bone? In an odd way, Bigfoot almost does seem like a rational explanation.
Unless the cougar found him after or during his death, or after his death and after the dog left and buried him.
To live that close to civilization. To be clear, I'm talking about the version where Sasquatch is just an especially large and, as described by the Coast Salish peoples, savage tribe of humans who live out in the mountains and come down to raid their tribes for women. And while I'm actually very in favor of that explanation for Sasquatch being something, a concept in folklore, I don't think there's much merit to it in this particular situation. It's kind of hard to hide a group of 7-foot-tall people with a population at or above replacement rate from the US government, hair-covered or otherwise. And that feels like a good way to transition into a quick little history segment on the Yosemite Valley, which I unfortunately didn't have time to write for this episode, because I accidentally wrote 2 episodes at once while trying to cover all of these stories. The good news is that I already did one for our Stacey Aris video a little under 2 years ago, and so we're gonna go ahead and use that. And before you yell at me, that video has only about 300,000 views, so many of you may not have seen it before. And for those who have been watching us for a while, it's a fun throwback to the good humor and jubilance that age and a career of researching tragedies has tragically stolen from my soul. Even better news, apparently late 2023 was around the time our content started to look and feel professional, so it's only going to be jarring in that I will about you and humbly ask that you ponder trying out our delicious signature coffee blend and use our merch over on Bunker Land. I'd also like to remind you that you can join our community on Discord for a time to talk about everything, and you can also get more Lodge by checking out our live show, which is Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, checking out History Unhinged, or the Weird Bible Podcast, or my channel, Aiden Mattis, which is basically just we play games and act silly on Friday nights. If you're leaving, I'm Aiden Madison. Thanks for stopping by the Lore Lodge. If you're staying, then here's me, younger.
Tiny eyes.
Madison, thanks for stopping by the Lore Lodge. If you're staying, then here's me, younger. This story, once again, surrounds a national park because, of course they do. All of them do. Every time somebody goes missing, it's in a national park with this channel. I know what you're thinking. But in this case, it actually is a national park, and it's one of the big ones. It's Yosemite. As one of America's oldest national parks, Yosemite is located in eastern central California. The park covers a whopping 759,620 acres of territory across 4 counties, 95% of which is all preservation. The area was actually one of the first park areas to be federally protected by the United States government in 1864, and then became an official national park in 1890, which was still 26 years before the National Park Service even became a thing. Historically, however, the Yosemite Valley was inhabited by a group of Native Americans known as the Awanichi. These people were referred to by their neighbors, however, by a different name, something more along the lines of Yosemite, and that word, according to legend, means they are killers. The Awanichi, on the other hand, called their area Awani, and that to them meant the big mouth, and Awanichi would mean dwellers in the big mouth. Though the Awanichi went through a few different
I like this one a little bit more than this one. I like the fact that it's rounder.
They spoke a Utian language and may have contributed for at least the last 7,000 years.
Okay, I'm bored of listening to you. Sure.
Gru and the minions would have destroyed the world. Yeah, that little plot from Despicable Me. If you tried this in real life, it wouldn't be cute or wholesome. It would be a crime so bad it would literally end life on this planet. Hal?
We are going to steal
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Theory, the show that has diabolical plans to rule the world. The first step in that evil plan? Subscribing to Film Theory. Could you could you help me out there? Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Listen, I know that you know the Minions. These dudes changed movies forever, whether we like it or not, and everyone knows about them. Whether you be a little kid who was genuinely excited for the new movies, someone who grew up with the franchise and gentle minions with the boys, or a parent who sat through the movies with your kids only to find something you actually enjoyed and later made Facebook posts with. Fun fact, one of my aunts has a minion noise as her text notification because of that. So anyway, there's a reason that these movies are so popular. Is it because the minions were basically genetically engineered in a lab to be appealing to children and sell merchandise? I mean, yeah, but also the story for that very first Despicable Me movie was a lot of fun. It was both simple enough to be a really catchy hook for the film while also providing enough actual character motivation to get the story to a satisfying place. If you don't remember, Gru, who longs to be a great supervillain, does what no other man has done before. He steals the moon, all just to one-up another up-and-comer named Vector. But how does he do it? Well,
the rest of the plan is simple. I fly to the moon. I shrink the moon. I grab the moon. I sit on the toilet. What?
Okay, well, scratch that last step and good plan. Gru creates some technology that shrinks the moon so he can steal it and bring it back to Earth. Seems pretty simple, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, everything could go wrong. Yeah, honestly, everything about this plan is a big, bad, terrible idea. Like, would this actually even be a crime? If Gru wants to become the best supervillain, you would think that he'd actually want to do something villainous like breaking the law. And secondly, the science behind this is insane. And would it potentially doom the planet? I need answers. So today I want to do two things here, loyal theorists. First, I want to find out, would stealing the moon actually even be a crime? Would this actually be something Gru could do as a big villainous move? Or is this just another weird thing a guy with tons of time, resources, and minions can do with no repercussions? And two, should it be a crime? If Gru actually stole the moon like we saw in the movie.
I'm tired of that.
Own a design studio.
I'm tired of a lot
Get
of
a really
things.
cool design contract. Realize you have to do a whole bunch of mathy business work before you can even start the not mathy design work. Use QuickBooks to see the big picture. Use QuickBooks to manage cash flow. Add some more cash to your flow. Let QuickBooks do more of this, so you can do more of the things you love. Intuit QuickBooks. Manage and grow your business all in one place.
The doors, okay. No, no, no. Too many hands. Okay. Okay, my head's too big.
Yeah, that's just a little.
Okay. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. Ah! Okay. Cut it. Okay. Gross. Okay, so this is clear now. Is the bathroom clear? Ooh. Can I go in here? Oh, I can't. That would have been so cool. So do I go this way? Yeah. No growth? Hello? The find. This handheld camera, now designated as 9174, along with a series of tapes. The test. Banana. The void between. Okay. Here it is. Explore the site office. Oh, the camera. Special containment procedures for the camera. Okay, clearance 3. A 2003 model of a handheld camera. I think I've read this. It's the same entry, I think. Yeah, displacements, okay. Swapping any removable part of the camera causes it to stop functioning. How do we open it? I can't open that. Is that me? Turns out he's just in love with me. Oh, the camera sees all. Ooh, the house. Crimson level lockdown in effect. MTF team en route. Option call MTF team space.
Work.
Should I?
Let's see.
Director's Journal 2473. Testing on our primary objective, designated number SCP-R-9237, also known as the House, carries on, but to no avail. The replica and its tester, subordinate 546, have not yet forged a link potent enough to bridge the gap between realities on a stable basis. Subordinate 3546 is, as of yet, unaware of her link to both the house and the events that transpired within.
Yeah, maybe we're the girl.
She is, however, beginning to demonstrate temporal reflexive memory relapse. This was expected, given her familial connection to the location. Luckily, she cannot form coherent memories as of yet. The amnestics are, at this point, still successful enough in their suppression, but it's only a matter of time before recollection breaks through. Meanwhile, our attempts to retrieve the house are successful. On a personal note, becoming increasingly frustrated. 3546's father was able to cross the threshold and enter the house, but his method of ingress remains unclear.
That's... Oh, so he disappeared in the house.
The house needs to be recorded with the handheld camera from the radio tower, but the combination of steps needed to transfer the house into our reality continues to elude us. It is becoming apparent that D-Class 3546 will have to be involved directly at the location. However, this is a last resort, which implies relinquishing our control of the situation. I am determined to avoid such drastic measures for as long as possible.
So the house is the house is a replica, and they're saying, like, as a last resort, they might actually bring me to the actual house. You see that? There's a whole... Oh my god, that is so dope, dude. That is so cool.
I do the spray paint that matches this bow, so I'm gonna go with that.
I know this place. The radio tower. What is that drawing? 3 moons? What does it say on it? Dicker... I don't know where the word starts.
It doesn't need horns, but I usually try to keep all the stash jars the same with horns. There's a little pair of pink ones.
Oh, do I need to jump?
It'll work. Not perfect, but...
Oh, it's Dad. It's not the girl. Oh, he's going under. Oh, but I can still see him. Oh, no, he's gone now. The radio tower experiment.
Any relation to the radio demon?
Hello, Annie. I find it odd recording something for a future you. Although you're still inside, I feel like you're right here with me and have been forever. Already you've taught me more than you'll ever know. My sweet baby girl. You have no idea just how special you are. But I do. And that's all that matters. I am recording this now, so you...
Is it that hard to set the dials correctly?
Was that the house in the background?
I can literally see the house through the camera.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Oh.
Why won't it go through?
Cool. Can we go up it? No. Oh, that's a big jump. Ooh. Oh, flamingo! Rob Scranton was here. Who's that? Do you think the flamingos will just be like a collector's thing?
It's gonna be the end of the game, the flamingos.
Back here. Okay, so that's where we were. It's no, ooh, that looks so cool. There's no static, so. Ray? Where's she at? It's weird saying Ray all the time because I'm thinking of Valkyrie, the goddess. Where's she calling me from? Also, what was that? There was like a little bit red to the side.
Shake and win millions of prizes with the AliExpress $1 challenge. Get unreal deals for just $1. Win $10,000 of flight credits and a $3,000 AliExpress shopping spree. Download, shake, win.
I have not had a student in any of my classes that has finished without a job offer. Most of the time, halfway through your schooling, if you've done a placement somewhere and...
There we go. Fun little stash jar. I think it came out pretty cute.
I don't know if I can get there. I don't see it now.
One thing for the stairs.
Oh. No apparent link to our cause. Died at childbirth, the mom. Age is slower, no sustenance required. Did she have twins?
Are you dry? Not really.
Came in possession, the radio tower repairman came in possession of, the father of the camera. How? Possesses knowledge of operating the camera, returned to house, motives unclear, mind control, obsession. The child, potential Keter class threat, must contain, age is slower. Has no recollection of the house, amnestics, has not yet forged a link with the house or the child. Currently at test 178. Replication to the tunnel radio tower. Okay.
Where were you? You've been gone for an hour.
Really?
I'm here. I know where I need to go.
Oh, the phone's gone.
We get out of here now.
Oh, okay. We'll do what we can on our end. Meet us in front of the elevator in replication testing. We'll lift the lockdown from inside the security room.
Okay. Wait. Have I looked at this? Oh, error. Hello? Are these the elevators? Oh. Hey, John.
We're going with quiet suffering. I didn't think you were the type.
I'm sorry. This was all my fault.
There was an offer on the table to fuck over our employer. And if I recall, I accepted said offer without putting up too much of a fight.
That was shitty of me. I knew what I had to say to lead you on.
No one could ever force me to do anything I didn't want to do in the first place. So don't flatter yourself. Besides, I can't remember the last time I enjoyed myself at work this much. Thanks for that.
What'll happen to you now? They won't just let all this slide.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Whatever it is, I'll be sure to meet it with a grin. Don't you worry about that.
Are you feeling better?
About where I was just now?
You don't need to explain yourself. The way I see it, if you vanish from the face of the earth for an hour, you must have had a good reason for it. Whatever that reason is, it's none of my business. Good luck,
It's a very
D-Class.
large one.
Go find what needs finding.
Over that finger.
Cool.
Parameter.
Okay, so Ray said meet me at the elevators. Escape facility on
Wait,
the
since
elevator
when?
to SV replica testing
Look
area.
at you.
What is the... Oh,
Oh, you're
hangar
perfect.
elevator? That one? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just need to go down the hall. Across the Okay, bye, bucket lady. I'll see you later. Oh, big doors. Surprised that she didn't come here at all.
Did you find what you were looking for?
She sounded creepy facing away from me.
I've gotten used to that.
It's things from my past. Right. My family. I can't talk about it because I haven't made sense of it for myself yet. But this place, the house, the little girl, they chose me for a reason. A reason they've decided to keep from me for as long as I can remember. I've had this feeling like there's this piece of me that was ripped out somehow. And no matter what I did, where I'd go, I could never shake it off. I can't explain it. But I just know, I know that this will help me put it back together. And I know I haven't earned the right to ask for your trust, but I'm asking nonetheless.
So, what comes next?
Yeah, I've got
Okay, finally she turns around. I felt like something was going to happen.
My father has anything to do with this. I have to try and find him. At least now I know where to look.
It's a leap of faith. Sometimes you need to take it to see what will still be there once you climb back up.
And will there be someone there?
I'm thinking about it. I managed to wipe the security footage.
Oh.
You've got enough of a head start before they even notice you're gone. As far as they're concerned, none of us were involved. But I don't think they'll be too concerned with the skeleton crew that was left behind anyway.
First we got the doors to open, huh?
I guess so.
Then a parting gift is in order. Consider this the final step of your safety rebrief. I hope you won't have to use it.
A gun?
And wherever you're headed, you're not gonna get far on those bony legs of yours. Take the car instead.
Bony legs?
Bony legs? How
For
rude.
all of it. It means
Oh.
everything to me. Knowing I have something, someone to come back for.
We'll figure it all out then. Just come back in one piece first.
I will.
Give him hell, Annie.
Okay. How exactly does this work? Why is everything... Oh, is this where the house... Oh, the house replica's here. Ah. So we're still in the facility. What's up there? Can I get up there? Just out of curiosity. That was pretty gay. I was thinking it. I was like, oh, maybe. Maybe Ray is the hots for us. Oh. Oh. Gotcha. That must be a collectible thing, right? Cool. I wonder how many there are.
Means I gotta do some pink horns.
Flamingos. But I guess if they're always multiplying, then we won't know. Oh. Parkour?
Parkour?
Not really anything I can... Oh, the doggy. Can you take the dog? Are we okay? We're very tall all of a sudden. Ooh, we're taking the dog? Oh, don't shoot the dog. Doggy! Are we taking the dog? I'm taking the dog.
Then all of a sudden I love this game.
Is Doggy riding shotgun?
Doggy better be riding shotgun. I mean, you'd be safe in the back, probably, but you can ride shotgun today.
There's no door there. Is there? Oh! Free the dog.
For a minute.
Reach the top. Oh, don't tell me I'm driving. Oh god, I'm driving. No. Don't trust me with this game. I have no idea where I'm going.
3.
Oh, Jesus.
8, 9, 10.
I guess we're gonna ram the gate. Ah! Guess not. How are we gonna get out? Give the car back to Ray, completely fucked up. Satellite array. Satellite array. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, Jesus.
Alright, we're listening to KW 101.
Scared me.
Local, but we're going national, baby. Alright, it's time
That's so loud.
folks. Wherever you're tuning in from, we hope you're safe. First and foremost, a region-wide evacuation is still underway due to severe landslides. But you're in good hands, everybody, okay? Trust the experts, and we'll all pull through. Things are looking grim, so let's turn to that one thing that always dispels the blues. Music. Well, unless you play some blues, that is. The lines are now open. Ah! Musical tastes. Hello, caller, you there?
Sorry,
Your
Ray.
name and your request.
Busting up your car.
Hello, this is me, Bill, here from around the corner. Yeah, I gotta say, landslides, is that the best they could come up with? Come on. We know what they're doing up in them warehouses. There ain't no landslides, Buddy Rowe.
All right, sir, please, for the third time, this is the segment of the show where we take some requests, and that's it.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Request time. Well, how about you play the song The Government Screws Us Over? You got that one? It's a humdinger, pal.
It's a humdinger.
Get him off the air. Now.
Hey, they will not evacuate.
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that, but it looks like the lines are open again. Hello, caller. We're ready for your name and request.
You think we're gonna be Frank? Hey, Frank. Oh my God. Are you gonna talk?
Oh god, it's the deer. I gotta see the deer. Hang on.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh!
You Jesus, Frank?
Shucks, Amy. Had to make sure it was you. Only weirdos left roaming these roads tonight.
Oh my God.
Just yanking your chain, buddy. That is. No more chains for you anymore. The great outdoors look good on you. Is it all you ever dreamt of?
Are you kidding me? You people get to walk anywhere you want. Eat whatever you want. Stalk when you want to. This is the life.
Enjoy it. It'll last. They had no right keeping you locked up in there.
There wouldn't be anything to enjoy if it weren't for you.
My dear.
I have no idea what you're referring to here.
So that's the game we're playing. Fine, I'll play along. Hey, what are you doing here anyway? I doubt they introduced driving brakes in the 6 hours I've been away. Oh, no. Tell me they didn't figure out you were in cahoots with me.
They figured it out, consider me excommunicated. So let's just say I put in my resignation voluntarily.
Let's just say I put in my resignation letter voluntarily.
Oh, you did? Oh, fantastic. Now, we're both rid of them. Knowing you must have stuck it to them real good. I just hope you didn't try to make a bigger splash than me.
Oh, I did.
Oh, no, Frank. There's room for only one star of the show this evening, and that's you.
So, what's next for you, kiddo? I tried hooking up with a herd of deer, but they didn't want me around. It's probably the guts falling out that chased them off.
Heading out to find my father. Taking a road trip.
I'm heading out to find my father, who's been missing for years.
Are you selling handmade products and you're using social media, Etsy, and craft shows? Then you're wasting 100% of your time. In this video, I'm going to show you why Etsy, craft shows, and social media are not the way to sell your stuff, and what to do instead if you want a successful handmade business you can run from home. Hi, I'm Mayhawk, and
I'm heading out to find my father, who's been missing for years.
Whoa, that sounds heavy. Yeah, families are tough, from what I've heard, at least. Can't say I've had the chance to experience it firsthand from inside a cage. I mean, heck, you're the closest thing to a family member I've got. Well, seeing as I owe you more than one, it's high time I return the courtesy. Call me superstitious, but my antlers have been buzzing non-stop for the past hour.
I don't speak not, dear. What does that mean?
Trouble on the way.
I figure the hill's already crawling with MTF. Only now they've got 2 reasons to be out and about.
If those replication division goons come knocking, you'll want my help.
And if it's anything else?
Then you'll need it.
You just take care of yourself out there. Don't go getting caught in some headlights now. Now that you're free, it can happen, you know?
Oh, ha. Make fun of the deer, why don't you?
Happy for you, buddy.
Until we meet again, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Frank.
But Frank was the replica, right? Didn't the document say that they couldn't get Frank to talk properly? Or was that something else?
Oh, good. He stands up much better now. If I can find him a little red hoodie, but...
Oh, no, watch out, crossing deer.
Seatbelts even tighter, because it's time to get your spooks on.
Which way do I go?
That's right, a brand new edition of Tales from the Nether is coming right up. Take it away.
Ooh, spooky story time?
I was but a young man when I set forth on this perilous path. That were unveiled before my eyes, have followed my face.
The radio is a really nice touch.
My mind. Now, I have become the path that I stood on a lifetime ago. Gadagoth. That is its name. Gadagoth. I've ventured on this quest.
Jesus.
To slay the beast.
Oh God. Ooh.
My thirst for glory would be quenched by its blood. My unyielding hunger for power would be vanquished upon feasting on its flesh. And that incessant clamor in the back of my mind, which has followed me throughout my days, would be reduced to a whisper.
Are they on me?
And now, the beast was finally within my reach. As I drew ever closer to its lair, the distant echo of warnings from weary travelers and warriors alike rose to a scream. The rancid stench of death lingers amongst the sick. Severed heads hang from branches like fruit of decay. Festering limbs cover the ground beneath me, filling the air with dread. Unwaveringly, I carry on with but one goal in mind. To find that which sowed all this death. The frailty of a rumor became apparent. Now that
trying to drive and read the subtitles at the same time.
Run, it's not safe.
Oh my God. What's that, sister? I can't hear you. I'm in a tunnel. You're gonna have to bump the radio waves. Oh.
You have got to be kidding me.
Uh-oh. Are we stopping?
Hands on the wheel.
Oh, Jesus.
Eyes in front of you at all times.
Should we drive? fugitives, right? You should get out of here. Trying to drive away. Hello?
License and registration, please.
Oh God. Can you give me another minute?
Could you give me another minute?
I'm afraid I can't do that, madam. I'm going to have to ask you again, nicely. Please hand over your license and registration.
I need a run.
Oh, up yours. How about I shove them up your ass instead?
Up yours, pig.
My, such wanton insubordination. I realize you are under considerable...
What's his face look like?
But I'd like to state that I am calmly approaching this situation. You are under no duress.
Blow me. No. Don't.
Well, if that is the case, I can only deduce that this opposition...
Oh, I hate all of that.
...stems from a character forged in a lonely and meager existence.
Oh, God.
And you are all alone. Are you not, Annie?
My fucking case! How did you know my name?
I know.
Right in the air.
It's been in the cards for a long time.
Who are you?
Each turn you took has led you to this exact point at this exact time. And here
Officer SCP. Yeah.
fate collides with your resolve.
Do you have the gun? Reach for the goal. Oh my God. Sit still. Sit still.
You would love nothing more than to reach for that gun when it was kind enough to guide you in.
Quiet.
If only you could use it to unleash all that anger that's been brewing inside of you. But what is anger, if not an extension of guilt? Guilt that's been clawing at your throat ever since the day you were born. Or rather, because of it. Tell me, Annie, how does it feel to have killed your own mother?
No, my options are ... or ...
She died, giving birth to you just so you could squander your life away, didn't she? Do you think she'd do the same now, knowing what an immeasurable screw-up you turned out to be?
Trying the best I can. Fuck off. Mommy, please don't go. Stay with me.
I'm trying the best I can. Fuck off!
And your poor father, having to stomach the sight of you every day after you butchered the love of his life. You cling to Daddy in your image of him, but know that he abandoned you for being the abominable disgrace you are.
Sorry, I'm a murderer. I killed her. Why don't you like me, Daddy?
Daddy,
I don't like these
why
options.
don't you like me, Daddy? No, I didn't do anything wrong. He knows that.
Oh, at least you have your friends, right? You know, the two basement rats, both of whom you used tonight to facilitate this little road trip of yours. My, how lucky they are to have you. But that seems like a pattern of yours. You suck, and you suck the life out of anyone crazy enough to come close to you until you get enough to keep you going.
I deserve to suffer. I have to suffer for all I've done. I need to suffer for all the pain I've caused.
Did you have a sweater? I swear you had a sweater.
I don't want any of these.
I have to suffer for all I've done.
Here's the truth, Annie. No one wants you on this earth. And your excursion this night is merely the final nail in
This
the
is
coffin
just too big to DIY.
useless and regrettable
Come on,
life.
fight
Frank! We need Frank!
Dangerous.
Frank! We need the deer.
Oh, the radio says ended. Oh god, no. Oh god. What? Okay. I thought E was to shoot, so I was not pressing E, but I think I have to like spam E to not shoot. I thought I had to wait it out. I'm ready. I'm pressing E. I'm pressing E. I'm pressing E. Shoot him. Oh, you're so creepy. Drive. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Dang it.
Oh, the shit's dry.
Oh. Where is this? Huh? Excuse me? How did I get here? Oh, hey. Hello. Either we were twins or we kind of like split ourselves into two, left like part of ourselves behind in the alternate dimension.
Don't be afraid. It's okay.
To protect ourselves.
You alright?
Oh god, he's coming. Oh. Frank! Yeah! Frank! Oh, I hope he didn't die for that.
Protect
Frank's
Frank.
the best.
Frank is the best, not deer.
Oh, the glass is fine again. What are we gonna do? Oh, Jesus.
Can't see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to make like drips come off of his rotten bottom.
Oh my god, there's the cop. Oh shit. Oh, oh my god. Oh god, this is so... Ah! Now I have to actually drive properly. Oh shit, he's there. Go, go, go. Okay, I have to keep avoiding him, I think. Ah! Oh my god. Well. Ooh. This is so trippy. Oh my god. Okay, he's coming down the middle. Oh, no, no, no! Okay. Do you think he, like, trapped us? Are we in his dimension right now? It's not easy controlling this car. It's like I need to be fast, but at the same time it's like I need to not crash and stay on the road, which is hard. He's chasing me. Okay. Oh, shoulders are up to my ears.
Where's that glue stick? I better not be down to my last fucking hot glue stick. I'm not leaving this house again tonight.
Jesus. Oh, the cop car is going as well.
Shit.
Wait, what do I do? Oh. I have to proceed with caution. Oh, Jesus. Okay, drive slow and careful. Oh, no. So much for slow and careful. Oh, no, I'm dead. Okay, so this is down and up, down and up. Swipe. 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 Back it up, back it up!
are you doing? Okay. I don't trust you guys. Are you not gonna do anything? Oh. Okay. Okay. Go.
I have to have a limited boost there. Can I really toss it
Okay.
out? I probably did.
Okay, let me out of this car. I don't like this anymore.
Yep.
Oh, the trees are closing in. Oh, creepy. I did not think I would be driving a car tonight. Okay. Rain?
There we go.
Oh god. Ooh. What happened? Oh, there's a train there. What do I do? Do I beat it? Oh god. Okay. We're stopped. Is he gonna get hit by the train? Okie dokie. Oh, oh. Hopefully that stops him for a bit. Oh, the tunnel is coming back. Cool. Whoa. Defeat SCP Replica 973, Smokey.
Crushing blow. A lifetime of struggle and unbearable torment ended with one precise and final strike. Gavagoth's lifeless vessel now lay before my feet. There would be no death, nor malice, nor misery, for the beast was no more. The blood on my battered face.
That was crazy.
When the screams came, the horrible shrieks of the men and women, the anguished cries of their children were no longer silenced by the beast's presence in my mind. Gavagoth was no more.
Do you think we're still
To my
in a facility? Could it be that big?
My body is broken, but it is a paragon of strength next to my shattered mind. Sleep. I need to sleep for millennia. If there are heavens above us, may they grant me rest. Whatever flame I was trying to extinguish when I set off on this journey,
on the left,
it has since spread to the rest of my soul like wildfire. A dark, shapeless void is now left in its stead. Both my body and my mind yearn for the respite that only eternal slumber can bring. I look to the cliffs in the distance and make my way towards them.
Is that the radio tower?
Standing on the cliff.
Is that the tower?
I gaze at the horizon one last time. I close my...
Okay. Whew, made it. That was eventful. So we can see the house from here, right? Find a way to the top.
I always put them a little bit too close, but they'll be fine.
What is this? Wait, she's there too. Dad?
Keep the light on. Light on till I get back.
Oh. What?
Hi, Annie. I'm recording this message, although I hope that you never hear it.
Totally forgot we have that bracelet.
If you're listening, It means that you've become a part of all this, by your own will or someone else's. No matter how you got here, just know that there are things I tried to protect you from. Our family house lies hidden in front of you, even though I could never see it as our home. There was too much pain for us inside. That's why I tried to escape. But there was always something calling me back. Someone. I hoped it would just fade from my memory, but it would seem that only the house itself can fade away. That camera is the only thing that could bring it back for some reason. But the camera alone is not enough. The materials you found here will help you with the rest. I realize now that it wasn't my place to shelter you from it all. I hope that one day you'll understand the lengths a parent will go to protect what is most precious. That's why I've returned here. I don't know what lies before me, but what I do know is this. If you're listening, it means that I didn't get to tell you this myself. So if you're going in, and at this point it seems like you are, make sure to get out of there as soon as you can. It looks like I couldn't.
Okay.
Love, Dad.
Schematics paper. Okay. Oh yeah, that's what we had to do. And that's how we have to fine-tune the tower. So 12, 7, and 5.
Right,
up, down.
Jackaloope's ready
12,
to
7,
go.
5, up, down. Okay. I still think this is all orchestrated by them. I think I'm being puppeteered. But we'll see. It's very hypnotic to look up that ladder.
Might have to take a break soon and go get something to eat.
The illusion of freedom? I think so, yeah. I think they realized that it would only work if I was willing enough. I'm doing it on my own volition. Oh shit.
I have found some more hot glue sticks. We're gonna keep going.
12, 7, 5, up, down. That was it, right? Where do I look? Oh, here. The house. What was that? Oh, Jesus. How did we get down? How did we get... what? Oh, the camera broke. No. No, poor little SCP. You've served me well.
What happened to the dog?
I mean, we are special.
What happened to the dog?
Oh, any flamingos? Hold on. They must have escaped. If I were the game dev, I would put a flamingo here somewhere. Hold on. Ah, can't go back. That would be so sneaky. Really? I really thought there was going to be a flamingo here. Guess not then. Bring back the house. Go home, Annie. Oh. I get it. Oh. Hello, evil sister. Lake and cave. Neither of those sound like home.
So holding strong.
Can I go here? It's so dark. I wish I had a flashlight.
I'm hungry. I hate to end the live stream, but I'm gonna have to. I don't think there's anything upstairs I can just grab it, run. Oh, cheese and cracker snacks. I can do that. Wash my hands first.
Okay, should we just go to the cave? It would be so cool if all of this was actually inside a facility still. There it is! How do I get to it? I want it. How do I get to you? Dang it. Maybe you have to go around? Alright, how do I get there? Oh, okay. Oh, this is creepy. Are those graves? Yeah. What is that? 2935? Is that an SCP? Should I go back? That was like an option to go to a cabin or something. Oh, I can't go in here. Okay. It was either go left to the cave or go right to the something cabin. Let me go back. 2935. There is a cave with that SCP number. Oh. Keter class SCP located in a cave. What does it do? In a nutshell, I mean, you can't post the whole story, obviously, but space-time anomaly existing within a cave beneath a cemetery near Joppa, Indiana. It was that. That's cool. Oh, this is the lake.
Now wait till you drive.
Flamingo!
You're good.
Hold on, I went back. Hold on.
Losing this hole.
Who's laughing? Oh, there. I was gonna check achievements, but someone's frolicking. Wait, maybe it will spoil me. Maybe shouldn't look. Maybe the ending will get spoiled. Kind of wanted to see if there was a counter for the flamingos, but let's just play. I'm getting ahead of myself. I shouldn't do that. So I can't actually get to the other side. Okay. At least I got a flamingo out of it.
And my balls.
Thanks,
I
game.
feel like I wish I had something to do with these, but I don't.
Game's like, it's been a while and you're not really changing anything, so just so you know. Can I get to this side of the lake? Walk through here. Don't think so. Okay. Oh, there's a... Oh, those are like arrows. I thought they were arrows pointing me in the right direction. Oh, I really thought I could go there. Okay. Oh no. Oh no.
Is the cop thing again?
What is it doing? Is it going into the field? Oh, the gate closed.
That's running music.
No, music. We're not doing this.
That's running music. That's run for your
It's
life
not going to be
music.
some chase scene, is it?
Well, it's chase scene music.
That big machine must be an SCP as well. Oh, what happened? Oh my god. What is happening?
Are you tripping balls? You're
Got any
tripping
flamingos?
hard.
Oh, I can't go up there. Step into the light. Oh, this feels nice.
That's a trap. If it's nice, it's a trap. We know this.
Flamingo? God? Is that you? Do you have any flamingos? I do really like that though, that the flamingos have spread. So what makes you think that this is the real deal? Are we going in through the basement here? It's not locked this time. Barred shut. Oh, right. Okay, so we're probably retracing our steps from the start of the game, right? Oh, no, we're not. Oh, don't cut yourself. Eat. Ooh, ah. Shark. Toggle text. She's surrounded by darkness. This is Dad's handwriting, right? I tried to tell myself that she was something I made up, a figment of my imagination, but deep down I knew. I've abandoned her. I will find her, no matter how long it takes. Oh.
Right.
Did my younger self, other half, sister, whatever she is, lose her mind with how long she was trapped in this dimension? Well, here we are.
There we go.
Can't see that.
What do you think? Isn't it cute?
Oh, wait, can I? No, I can't even select it. Okay. Oh, never mind. Found something. For Annie.
3. No one's trying to forget. I think so.
He's sitting on the floor.
My sweet baby girl, you have no idea just how special you are. But I do. And that's all that matters.
Is it fake?
I am recording this now so you can hear it for yourself. Once you're ready. Once you're all grown up. Sadly, I won't be there to see it with my own eyes. But some of us are called to make sacrifices in order for others to prosper. We are at the heart of the spiral, where worlds collide. Our guiding hand will lead to the center. By now, you
That's why the Go Home Annie is like a spiral.
The world has to offer. However, there are some miracles that are hidden from us, taken from us. I am part of a group that seeks to undo this injustice. An injustice committed by an organization called the SCP Foundation.
Okay.
They give themselves the right to lock up anything and anyone unfitting of their so-called natural order. These extraordinary and majestic beings are jailed and given numbers, like branded cattle, before they are trapped forever and butchered. I may not
kill people, though.
But you are of my blood, and I know that you'll feel this injustice in every bone of your body. But we're going to change all that. You are going to change that.
Why couldn't she do it on herself, on her own?
You are the key to the gate standing in the way of progress. It's time that humanity was ushered into a new era. An era of wonders. And
That sounds dangerous.
Of a gift that will enable us to do so. Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, that's not weird at all.
You didn't actually. But where did you... Can we afford it? You just focus on turning it on first. Oh, right. Let me just...
The camera?
Hi!
Crap.
Oh, I think I'm going to need to show you how to work that.
Regular dishes are a whole different animal, sweetie. This is uncharted territory.
How do you plan on recording Annie when she, arrives if you don't know how to use it?
Oh, so that's what it's for.
It's here for all the good ahead of us, but she comes first.
That she does.
Chaos
Merry
Insurgency.
Christmas, baby.
Is that it?
Take the cap off the camera now!
Who cares about the fucking camera? You're in pain.
Remove the cap and place it on the nightstand now!
Why? We need...
Oh.
Do you understand?
I will not let them get anywhere near her! Get that through your head!
Oh, that's why.
Just keep the camera there!
No wonder she died during childbirth. She wasn't even in a hospital.
Is that an earthquake? You gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm taking your things, and we're leaving now!
No!
Wrong shade of blue, but still like that. Ow. Look hurt me.
No, and home births are quite risky because if there's any complications, no, and home births are quite risky because if there's any complications,
Baby, you did it! Mel,
it's much better to be in the hospital where they can deal with any complications.
Mel? Melissa? Almost up! Oh no!
But also there was no doctor present or anything, so that's quite dangerous.
Alright. Giant
Excuse me?
sloth is done.
What did that
Mums.
spit out? Oh, emblem part. I still feel like I'm being puppeteered.
Alright. 1, 2,
So we're gonna
3,
go through the
4
house
items
and,
on
like,
this. Poo is still
remember. Oh,
drying. I swear I had a sweater for him, and I think I threw it out.
I remember everything. I remember Annie's first steps in this room, or was it her first words? Did she also take her first steps here? This place is beginning to seep into my memory. Who likes the paint? Dad a painter? Oh, wait. Huh? Where's the hallway? Oh, wait, what? Whoa. A coin. Local currency. That was a very subtle change. Flamingo! The house is breathing again today. Daddy still can't see it, but I can. Oh. That was the flamingo creeping away. The Game Bear advice, Game Boy Advance, is so great. I wish I had enough money to buy one. Daddy said I should start saving up. Okay. Any other coins? Cute. Wait. Oh, do I have to like swap between the... Oh. Okay. I need to find more coins. You think there's more coins around the house? Okay. Yeah, there might be more coins. Wait, no wait, I'm stuck here. I can't look at the rest of the house. The same white table. We've missed the nursery. Oh, right. Yes, yes, yes. There's 2. Okay, this is wild. Still more?
I found the hacksaw!
Oh, I changed now.
No.
I remember this. Jimmy? No. Timmy. Timmy, you there?
Not talking to you.
Oh, come on, don't be like that.
Like what? Still not talking to you. I got something cool that you won't get to see. I need the emblem. I know I haven't been around for a while. I'm really sorry. Right now I need your help.
I haven't been around for a while, and I'm really sorry. But right now, I need your help.
You were gone
You're
for
right.
4,000 days.
Cool. I promised that I couldn't find my way back to you.
About 10 years?
At home. But I'm here now. Would you please help me and give me the emblem?
It's mine, all mine, finders keepers. You left me all alone in this crazy, creaky house. I can take you with me. Yeah.
Maybe if you give me the emblem, I can take you with me, far away from here.
Liar, you don't care about me. Go away. Oh. Oh my god. Catch him! Oh, I'm gaining on you. I'm getting there. Almost. Almost. Emblem part. Okay, we still take it with us. That's good. Today I finally saved up enough to get the Game Bear advice. I didn't have any batteries, so I was very sad that Daddy bought batteries for me. That's so cute. Anything else? House is breathing, yeah. Okay. Select the Game Bear Advice handheld console and press enter. First of all, get in here, you big meanie. Oh! Wow, this is so weird. What? Sorry, Tim, I need the emblem and I don't have time to waste. I don't care. Just go away. I'm taking you with me. Weird! That's so cool! I love it. That's another one. Whoa. The walls... Oh, wait. The walls, they're like pillows and I can hear her crying but I can't see her. She's fine here, just fine. Why don't you let Daddy see you? Okay. Magical rotating House of Wonders. Use the miniature house to rotate the room and create a path. Touch the spinner to change the gravity and make yourself fall on a different part of the room. Reach the emblem and return to the center. Dr. Wondertainment is not responsible for cases of injury, leaking of anomalous properties into the outside world, or any other negative consequences. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah. Oh my god, what's happening? Oh Jesus. Oh. Okay, I don't have the emblem. I'm tiny! Oh! I need to get there. Look up. It says there. Plug gravity. But which way? Can I only do it from here? Oh, I need to stand in the... Oh, so the ray of light is... which way I'll go. Okay, I get it. This is wild. Okay, so I tried that one, which is the start. I'll try this one. Okay, which one am I actually trying to get to? Okay, I'll go.
There's water in this.
To the other side.
How many years have you been sitting there?
Oh. How did I? Oh, shit. This is very confusing. Okay, I want to be there. Yes. I think. Oh, flamingo! Okay. If I put it like this, I think I can get the flamingo. Hold on. I need to get there. This is so confusing. I'm just gonna go that way. Flamingo. Okay, so this way. And then up. Got him. Okay, now what? Okay, where am I actually trying to get to? I need to do that again. Okay. But I can't get there from here, so I need to go there. Okay, I'm starting to get it. Okay, there. Oh, I can't get there. So this way, I think, and then this way. Yes. Okay. Now, where's the emblem part? If I do that, I can fall into it, but I don't know what the point is. There's no emblem on the outside, at least, so let's set it like that. Like, do we know where where the emblem is? Have we seen it anywhere? I have no idea. Oh my god, I'm getting so confused. Let's just go one direction. Okay.
How's that looking? If I can find a sweater, I'll put a sweater back on.
Okay.
I think he's done other than that. Well, other than...
So that's where I started. That's where I need to be. Okay. Okay. Oh, this one only lets me go there.
I think I'm going to stop for a while.
Only lets me go here. Okay.
Give me an hour or so. Go get myself some food. And I'll probably be back a little bit later. But thank you guys for stopping by. Giving me a thumbs up before I head out. And you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Well, I'll be back. At least I think so.